And Carlson's like, hey man, constructive criticism. I love it. Tell me what I can do better.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I put a shirt on that guy. I couldn't stop staring at his fucking nipples.
So we went and got
because I'm not ashamed. I went in the water. I took my shirt off.
Hey, so we went. We were at Bill Jackson's. We'll shout out to them.
Yeah, Bill Jackson Adventures, something like that.
Yeah, and we went and got shirts when they're like swim shop,
Yeah, bought a couple rash guards.
Of course, like him and Kata get like these skin tight rash guard things, and they get me one. Like I'm a guy that likes skin. I look like a sausage and everything. You know what I mean? Like I'm a dude that like needs to wear a small shirt.
You don't need to get squozen into a size medium.
Medium.
No.
So that's the
Oh.
rescue company one uniform right off the bat right there.
I do tell people though, if you're gonna shop for Carlos, you gotta go to the Husky section.
Yeah.
Husky.
Maybe,
Medium
yeah.
Husky.
Yeah, what would you put a big man in? That's what you want to ask me. Yeah, that's it right there. So it's funny as shit. Everybody looked super cool in their shit last week. Jumping out of the helicopter and stuff. There's nothing that's gonna make me look cool. I just look like a big dude that took somebody's shit. Like I got beat up somebody.
We're jumping out of helicopters?
Yeah.
Give me your shit. Give me your shit.
I'll make you look good.
Yeah. Pablo did look good as fuck.
I'm gonna
His
freak
little
my
tiny
face
shirt.
into this.
And my Daisy
So,
Dukes.
yeah, like the little tiny shorts, man.
Hello.
Oh man, last announcement though, we have a air medical class. What did they come out, baby?
July 19th through the 24th.
July 19th to
Like
24th. Yeah.
Monday through Saturday.
Yeah, and then we have Echo. We got the Echo
September
conference
29th,
through
is that what it said?
yeah, through the first.
Second?
Second.
Yeah,
Sorry.
through
Yeah,
garbage
we're now
away.
through the second.
OCD thing.
Like
Hey.
4 days,
Yeah, and it's
Thursday through Sunday.
Naples area. It's gonna be
Fort Myers?
Fort Myers, Sanibel Island. Yeah,
Ooh,
Yeah.
Sanibel.
yeah. So
I've
Oh,
never
I
been
love
there.
Sanibel.
I've never been there.
It's great.
I hear that.
We're
Water,
taking,
very calm. It's like, you want to chill on a rep.
What are the
We're
dates?
taking,
July.
What are the
we're taking
dates?
everyone.
What's that?
What are the dates?
Yeah.
Air medical is July what?
July 19th through the
24th?
24th.
Okay.
And Echo
19th, I thought it was
is
12th.
September 29th through the 3rd.
Third. We just put it through that. You can
Yeah.
stay an extra day.
29th to the 3rd.
I think it's till Sunday.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've been doing
So
that.
Thursday to Sunday.
Yeah.
Patricio, this is amazing.
And then we're taking every TRC one employee is it's mandatory. You gotta go.
Oh.
We need everybody. So people,
Mandatory.
we're
I'll be
doing
done with nursing school then.
we're doing a lot of the stuff.
I'll be
for
done with
them.
nursing school.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of the stuff for them. So we got to be there. We got pre-conference stuff. We got conference
We have
responsibilities.
Pat coming. to-
Yeah,
I mean, not to
yeah.
mention the conference itself is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Oh, the
absolutely.
conference.
Absolutely.
It is the best conference I have ever been to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And remember, like after the whole thing that happened with the Echo thing, there's no douchebags there this time.
I remember the first time we were there. It's that they put you're in contact and talking to the people that are directly responsible for these
Absolutely.
crafts.
Yeah, yeah,
There's
absolutely.
not really a middleman. And
It's
that was
for-
what's good about it.
There's
Four
no
flight
ego.
crews, by
Yeah.
flight
My
crews.
favorite.
4 flight crews, by flight crews.
Yeah.
Yeah, this ain't a conference where you're gonna go sell shit. It ain't got nothing to do with that. This is all about.
No one's signing you up for
Yeah.
insurance.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the
Come learn some shit.
that's the biggest thing that's going on, man. Anything else that I'm missing for the good of the order, everybody?
Today's a good day for me.
Yeah, third day.
I feel good today.
Yeah, you look good.
I haven't felt good in a while.
He came over last night.
The beard looks good.
Yeah, that could be part of it. I still have that. I'm gonna go eat some of that tonight for dinner too. But, so Carlos makes a damn good country fried steak.
Oh,
Damn good. I mean, delicious.
Yeah, it's a black.
Like when he asked me, he makes a lot of things that are really good. And I was coming over for dinner for the first time in forever last night. He said, "What do you want to
Got
make?
a frozen one?
What do you want me to make?" And I just right away, that country fried steak.
Yeah, country fried steak and some
That,
big old legs.
that brush you're using on your beard there. What is that made out of? Is that like made
This
out
is no. I want to say
Fine
it's a
mahogany.
mixture of
Whalebone.
yeah. I think it's mahogany. To be honest.
Fine mahogany.
Did you suck like 6 dicks to get that?
No, sir. I never sucked. I don't know.
No?
That comes with
You have to have a
shit.
a wooden comb if you venture into the large beard game.
Yeah.
And And one of my hobbies that keeps me at home because, you know, I don't just
Yeah, it's
sit around there is gardening and growing my herbs and spices and all this stuff. By the way, any peppers go great in Florida.
Yeah.
And what, you know, I ordered a pair of Dickies overalls and I'm growing my beer valve.
Yeah.
This is a true story.
Why
Why?
they get some old Dickies?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm a
I'm
farmer.
gonna need- I'm gonna
Yeah.
need-
I'm gonna need to get you
I'm
a
a farmer.
I'm gonna need to get you a hat.
Columbia.
Columbia.
shit. Hey, we're gonna talk about that.
That was my bad.
Let me ask you this, man. Like, our life changed for forever, man. Like, how many years ago was that? It's coming up.
Yeah, the 5-year anniversary.
It's 5 years. It's been 5 years.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
This one will be 5 years.
Couple days.
And always, you know, always around this time, what do? We just, for no reason, we start feeling like shit. We don't,
Yeah.
we want to disappear. I don't watch the news at all.
No, man.
And that's what sucks the most about it is if you're, you know, not taking away from what we did or what we, you know, and of course we do it again. But it's hard to forget about something that's celebrated every year.
Yeah, it's got the worst day of your life, got an anniversary, right?
Yeah, it got an
And
anniversary.
it's like, you know,
You already know everything about, but now it's gonna, you know.
yeah, you relive it every after. You
And I
know,
would love to be in a place where I could take part in, like, I think this time they're doing a run, like a.
they do it every year. Yeah, they do it every year.
Well, I guess it's the first time I noticed it.
Yeah, it's a run.
And I would love to go there and take advantage and do stuff like that. And I'm just not in that place, man. I don't even drive by that.
No.
I avoid it.
Was it last year we went
2
to
years ago.
2 years ago? It's I think 2 years we did that. We went there for
That
the
was
first
2 years ago,
for
yeah.
the first time. Me and Josh actually walked the
On foot.
from the Einstein, walked it to ORMC and back, you know.
And it brought a lot of memories back.
Yeah, and you know when you do, it's so crazy, right? Because you start. I remember that there's some shit you remember from that night,
Yeah.
that day when we were walking through that you never mentioned before that period of time. So you know, I guess obviously people don't know. You know, we talked about it a little bit before and stuff. But, you know, me and Josh were,
Josh and I.
Josh and I. Yeah, I'm sorry. You know.
Days, they was.
Yeah. Then what happened?
What happened was.
What happened was, you know, we were there, either fortunate or unfortunate to be, you know, one of the
Oh,
first
man.
people that were there. Well, you know what's interesting is, man, that I was watching this thing on YouTube. They got like a timeline,
Yeah.
and people can go on there and watch a false timeline thing. And when you watch the false timeline thing, you for the first
I
like
don't know.
16 some odd minutes, you only see one rescue.
It's like 20, it was like 27 minutes.
Yeah, you only see one rescue truck coming back and forth, man. Like there is only one thing with a number 7 on it, and that was the one that in the pickup truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in the pickup truck, back and forth, and that's the thing.
Yeah,
that people
we
don't realize.
met up with them 3 times.
Yeah.
At in the bay of ORMC, just like we just happened to be, we were dropping off at the same time they pulled up behind me. I remember exchanging, talking to the driver. I still remember what he looks like. I've never seen him again. I remember like high-fiving him, like, yeah, man, because nobody else was helping. We had no other way to move patients than asking them to help us.
Jimmy Highland, man. Jimmy Highland was the hero, man. And you know, listen, bro, there's a few things before we get into the story that people need to know. If you don't like a Quentin Tarantino movie, well, go listen to fucking something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna
Because-
jump around.
I'm not going to tell this order. The story doesn't go in order. And we've told this story probably a few hundred times. We've traveled the country, we've given this talk, and, you know, probably the first time we've ever recorded it. So, well,
Yeah, totally. This is the first time we've ever.
allegedly. Hey, no way I was going to not fucking say that. So,
Yeah.
anyways, you know,
But you know what? Again, I'm in a much better place here than I was then, so I'm
Yeah.
glad we're doing it over again.
yeah, no, it's good, man. It's good. Maybe we call it practice.
I mean, this was like even 3 weeks ago. Like that day was not a good day, you know. So it's a
Yeah.
good thing Ryan lost 3.5 hours.
So, yeah.
I didn't lose.
Just-
I didn't
just
lose.
you and
I negligently deleted not being produced.
Rob Paul
So my conspiracy theory is he did this on purpose
So you get you back.
because
Well, no,
to get
Rob
me
Paul
back
says
because
what's up, guys.
I send every so
Rob Paul
often when I'm
says
mad,
what's
I
up,
take it
guys.
out on Ryan
Oh, yeah.
and I just send him the horrible hate messages.
Well, see, it's all still there. Like we even have the video. Like we have the audio that goes with the video. It's just not like the great audio we get from the mic. So
Right.
like the story, like if you want it, we can take it. We can throw it out.
I'm gonna
No,
tell
listen, you
I'm-
deleted it for a reason. We'll do it again.
I'm gonna tell you some of the things. It's funny because this happened, right? We recorded it, it went away, and Ryan tells me, and it's like, it's like Carlos tells me something, my son, like, I'm gonna be pissed. And both me and Ryan can have conversations that me and other people can't have. Like, we can have some fucking like,
Very intense.
very intense conversations. Well, Ryan is intense about like making a sandwich. You know what I mean? So, like,
I do need some of those containers back so I can pack more shit for you.
so, and me and Ryan can have a fucking ass intense conversation, and then, we're gonna be okay after that shit. And this is the reality of shit. It's always gonna be that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you know that. And
Of course.
fuck, if you sit in a van with us for 38 hours,
You bond.
you hear some shit in that van. Like, I mean, mostly Ryan Burton and stuff. And,
Can you imagine that
Dude,
when you
this
and I
dude,
first
I
started?
was
if
in the
we-
van riding horses, bro.
If we were recording, if we recorded every time you and I were on the road from the beginning,
Jesus
so I mean, you literally road trips. That's where you learn about the other person. You get these weird stories that you've never heard before.
Ryan let out a fart in the back of the
Oh,
van.
man.
Bro, it was pure homeless man. It was
Something
like
died in his.
it was
lower
a
intestine.
homeless man crawled in there, came and died.
What
And it was just like, I'm like, what is inside of you? It's just, I don't know, but that.
Right. Like it almost was it coming out of him like melon.
Then I remember he just ate every steak we stopped at. Brian got beef jerky. We had like 10
No,
steaks worth
sir.
of beef jerky in the fucking
Beef jerky is not the best thing for your bowels.
You know.
If you, I mean, eating consistently.
crazy shit. But back to the thing. Again, we happen to be there. And you know what's crazy, Josh? I was thinking is that I haven't done the talk. We haven't done the talking.
Man, I've been talking forever.
8 months.
It's been
I think it's been longer than that.
We get
When
on
was
this whole
it?
episode ride live.
When was
We
Ethics?
did, we want to.
I'm
When,
down.
when
You're
was
down?
when was
I got people from Atlanta.
what am I talking about? When did
What?
we do it 8 months ago? I don't remember that.
In Kansas, it was supposed to be
Kansas.
Kansas City
Kansas
or
City.
You sure it
like
was
you
8
flew
months
into Oklahoma
It
and
is
had
a
to
year.
drive.
That was longer than that. Was pre-COVID.
Yes.
So that's longer than that. That's over a year.
Was
It's
that
been
2
over
years
a
ago?
year, man.
That's
Like,
over. Well, COVID was March March
Yeah, but,
2020.
and I'm pretty sure it was the spring.
So we're over a year already.
it's been over a year.
Was
man.
it 2?
That was where it was at a casino, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's casino, man. Yeah.
Was it at the spring?
And it was no, because it was right after we talked to Martin.
No,
County
it was
class,
fall.
February.
It was fall.
It was
Oh,
February
Which is-
time. The first time we talked
Springtime?
Martin County.
There
So
was
it's been
my
a
memory.
year. So it's been a year. So,
2. I think it's 2.
or whatever. But
It's been a
it's been
while.
a while.
Let me ask.
It's been a while since we've done it. And
Lorena knows.
and like the reality is that, man, I don't even remember how to start it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't remember how to start
Oh,
the
you
thing.
know, it's funny. I mentioned it to Patricio too, because we normally use a PowerPoint to keep us on track.
Yeah.
I was saying maybe we should have the PowerPoint off to the side just to keep us on track. But I
Yeah.
remember how we started it. We start talking about our competitions and muscle memory and what the
That's
Yeah.
exactly.
the purpose for like starting this company,
Yeah.
and then what the principles are, which
So-
the main thing is we're trying to teach muscle memory.
That's got fucking goosebumps. So the name of the talk was always it's called Game to Reality, and we would talk about like things that me and Josh did 10 years prior to getting up to that call. And the craziest thing is that the company since we started has gone through so many changes in different places that we're at, and the one thing that's never changed is like I was telling you, is that we mention you probably every day. We mention you probably every
Oh,
day.
you
We
flatter
probably,
me,
it's
son.
like because
It's a true story.
because this is the thing.
Yeah.
This is the thing people don't understand, Josh. Is that me and you, that Pulse didn't start the rescue company.
No.
The rescue company one was like Josh for years. He's like, why are we
Teaching for
why are
other
we
people.
teaching for other people? Because we're such good friends that Josh would just come with me when I would go teach for somebody else. We go on trips together.
Yeah. Miami, have
Yeah.
some cheesecake, have a
Yeah.
good time.
And he'd be there teaching
He
like
loves you.
and like as my personal assistant. Oh man. It like people be like, hey man, why are you bringing that dude along? You guys gay? No,
Yeah.
we're not.
Yes.
We're not a couple.
Not that there's anything wrong with that,
No,
but we're not.
there is no wrong.
But we're not.
We're not.
Yeah.
So
There's nothing wrong with knowing a man's order and being able to finish
Yeah.
it if he's not at the table, and nobody would like the dessert and what he doesn't. Know what his allergies are, and make sure to tell the
Yes,
you know,
make
hey,
sure.
do you use the same cutting board for
Is
your
that the
seafood?
ceviche?
Yeah,
Or
yeah, exactly, right,
Do you
Josh?
use the same cutting
Would
board
you-
for your seafood?
would
Because if so, we're gonna have a problem. This guy's gonna die,
Yeah,
and that would scare them into.
you would never order,
Hibachi.
you would never order ceviche,
Hibachi.
shrimp next to me, would you?
No, because you're gonna.
Did I ever order ceviche shrimp?
I
You order
wasn't
shrimp
there.
taco, and you try to kill
I
me.
did not order
That shit's on the
ceviche.
goddamn record, and
No.
people heard
I
it.
did not order
You
that.
try to kill me with
I did
ceviche
not.
shrimp.
I did not order that.
Anyways, we'll talk about that.
Carlos has a
Remember
bad
that.
seafood allergy.
So, listen,
Really bad.
you know, how do we get to be friends is one of the greatest stories ever, man. So, like, I happen to be in a interesting time in my life where I was in a fire department timeout. There's a fire department timeout. So,
These things happen,
yeah, I told the team to go fuck himself. And,
and then he took it out on you at work, which
Yeah.
you're not supposed to do,
yeah.
but always
I
happens.
thought that was illegal.
So it turns out that from the time I got hired to like this time period, I had never been assigned to a fire.
Mhm.
Ever.
Ever?
Ever.
Ever.
They go, hey,
Yeah, because you were on the heavy for a bit.
well, yeah, I was on like, I was on the rescue from day
Right.
one, and then I went to that Utah
back
one.
when the rescues went to work.
Yeah, and then they go, hey, you gotta go spend some engine time. So I go, like I said, with Station 10, and there, and
Tommy Hall and
Tammy Hall, yeah.
and,
Joe Mike,
Joe Mike,
Calderon,
yeah.
and, I had Jockin, and
Yeah.
I forget who else was on there. McPherson, Josh McPherson.
Yep.
So the funniest thing is, I can send to this engine, and hey, like I remember talking to Tammy, and I was like, I'm like, listen, I don't want to put my gear on because they go a lot of automatic fire alarms. So you go from like only putting your gear on for real shit when you're on Rescue 7 to going to like,
Universal and putting it on all the
every
time.
fucking 5 or 10 times a day. I'm like, fuck this. And I said, you know what? I'm the paramedic on this truck. And Joe Mike just gets to drive around. Why do I have to put my gear on?
Yeah.
So Tammy's like, hey, Joe Mike, you don't have to get dressed for
I'll tell you, engineers best job in the fire department. I loved it. Why mainly? Because I didn't have to dress out anymore.
Yeah. Dude, you remember when I started the rumor about Joe Mike not being able to shit with the toilet seat down? You have to put it up and sit up there.
Yeah.
So I started this rumor, got through the whole fire department, man. He goes, his ass is so big. Because I was saying, a black woman's ass. So his butt's so big, I go there. You have to sit on the, you have to put the seat up. You have to sit on the bowl itself.
You know,
That got
you need
through
that
the-
extra 2 inches of clearance.
Through the whole fire department. The other day, some new guy came over. He goes, hey man, you really sit with the. So he texted me. I go, man, that is the funniest shit in the entire
Rumor. Firefighters are worse
Oh,
about spreading
shit.
rumors and talking smack than like a sewing circle.
So while I'm gone, they hire a couple new classes of people. So I'm gone like 4 or 5 months, something like that. And then they excuse me out of my timeout and send me back to the station. And when I get there, I meet the worst new guy I've ever met in my whole entire life.
Which he exaggerates.
No, there's no fucking exaggeration in this. And Pablo, you were working Rural Metro back then.
Yeah.
So we're running a bunch of calls. I'm writing like 10 fucking reports, 20
For
reports, on
Yeah.
and doing all the cooking, delivering checks, doing all that shit. And then the new guy, he's playing Guitar Hero.
Which I was forced to play, by the way.
Oh,
Did he
yeah.
have a rocket beer then? No, he didn't.
I mean, they
Yeah.
peer pressured me into playing that.
So just so you know, the thing in Oklahoma or around there was last year, not 2 years ago.
Yeah, I was pretty sure I was pretty close on the year.
You're right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm often not wrong.
I know.
And so anyways, I'm sitting there and this dude's taking naps. I'm getting a dinner. He's late
Wow.
for fucking dinner.
No, I never ate that. Remember?
Yeah, that's right.
I was
Dinner.
sick. I was
cook
sick
a
that
fucking dinner. I cook a meal. You pay for the company. This motherfucker don't even show up for it.
I paid,
A long
but
ass
I,
nap.
so
So tired.
this was when I learned that you could stay
Like a
at work
bulldog.
sick and and your lieutenant would let you stay in the bed and sleep it off because we had a newer guy, the Paradopoulos,
Yeah.
Josh Parad, the Frenchman.
The Frenchman.
And I
Frenchie.
remember like within his first couple of weeks, he was sick, but not sick enough that he wanted to go home. So Lieutenant Hill was like, just go sleep in your bed all day.
You know-
So I was recreating that. I felt like shit, but not bad enough that I wanted to save my sick
You know
hours.
what's great? You know who the Frenchman's best friend was in high school?
No.
Right.
You?
Yeah.
That was just the first time that this has come up.
Yeah, these
You know?
fucking dudes are fucking- it's a small fucking
Yeah,
world.
the Frenchman, Josh Perot.
Dude, I talked to him the other day.
Yeah.
And he said he full on like was sprinting after some dude. I'm like, I'm waiting for his
Just kidding.
yeah, no, he's a cop. In
Yeah, we are-
Aurora, Colorado.
And I'm like, I'm just waiting for some like, all those cams,
Yeah.
body cams where catches him shooting the fuck out of somebody. You know,
Being
like
angry
this
as
don't
hell.
happen.
But yeah.
You know, he's been waiting to shoot somebody when he was a fireman. Like, waiting. And he's got a lot of aggression. He's not like, he's not his parents' favorite kid either. He's got a brother that went to the Naval Academy, was a pilot and a hero. And then you got this fucking dude that thinks he's like Scottish.
The Sean Steiner of Osceola County.
Yeah, he told me that shit. That's a great story ever. That's for another podcast.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
when
good
we
stories.
when we freaking so I get to the station, this motherfucker says he's gonna go to paramedics.
This is me, Don.
Yeah. Oh, so
I was
so when I come back, I'm running a medic program, and I hired the Frenchman to be my assistant instructor.
Mhm.
And then Josh thinks that it's a good time. This is a good time for you to go to medic school.
I asked
This was
everybody where
after-
was the hardest program.
I think this was after you fired me.
Oh yeah.
Yes, yeah, no, you weren't there.
No,
when I
no,
was
no. I hired you after that.
Okay.
And then
You know,
after that, he
I
fired.
fired Pablo. I sent him
And
home
took your
topless
shirt.
on his motorcycle.
You told me the story.
Yeah.
I
He
remember.
took my shirt
I
off.
took his
It's your
shirt. And like
You can't work here anymore because you can't show up on
Oh,
time.
listen,
That
like
was back when you could be.
Pablo, man, is the first dude I've ever fired from anything. And like, and then like,
We need to
so,
make it
Every hire.
so Felix tells me, he's like, you gotta let him go. You gotta let him go. He's like, this 3 times. And I go, man, dude, I go in there and he can't wear anything that has our logo on it because he don't work here no more. I'm like,
Right.
okay. So I'm like, hey, dude, yeah. So Pablo knows I'm gonna fire him before I even say it. But then he doesn't know that I'm gonna take his shirt. I'm like, taking the shirt. He's riding a motorcycle.
Didn't even decide to
And
wear
I
a white
go,
beater that day.
yeah, I'm gonna need that shirt, man. Sorry. I'm gonna be sure I'm shouldn't show up on time. and
Was it at least a nice warm day.
dude, the very next time I see, so then like Pablo, he went back to Georgia.
No, I went to Georgia, yeah.
Yeah, and then the next time I see Pablo is I'm working for Rick Patterson.
Yes, he is.
And I go to like Georgia to teach air medical class, critical care class for them, So, and then did you see the story I sent you about Rick Patterson?
Yes.
The dude was into bestiality and shit like that.
Yeah.
A weird motherfucker.
And you slept with him.
Different
I'm gonna
podcast.
say, bro.
Different, yeah.
Stay tuned with that shit because that dude got weird. Like that's some weird
Put
shit.
a pin in that.
Who did
Yeah.
what?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a story for later.
yeah. I've told you.
Where do you want me to put it?
it? So, anyways, man, what'd you say about going to medic school?
Yeah, so I asked people where was like the hardest program, where you're gonna get the most out of, I don't want an easy program, and they were like, oh, well, Carlos fails people left and right, so his would be the hardest program. And I said, okay, cool, I'll go there.
Now, technically, man, let's clarify this shit. I don't fail people.
No.
People fail themselves.
He holds them accountable.
Yeah, I make sure people knew
Is
their
that-
shit, make sure they had
Is
a
that
good man.
appropriate?
This was back when
Yeah.
you could turn out
Right.
good medics. Now
Right.
they're just throwing anybody out there.
I'm gonna say this, man. The people that graduated around that time, that came out of that school, they some of the top
Yeah.
motherfuckers in the like when bro, I went to like I've told this a couple times, man. I'm going on flights, I'm watching guys intubate and the tube holder underneath the head, doing all the stuff, and I don't know that kid. I don't know that kid intubating, but I know that kid got taught by somebody that I taught how to intubate. You know what I'm saying? It's like we would do this. It's amazing that trend that's continued and the good habits and the good muscle memory, and that's the stuff we do. So we were teaching that, and Josh said he's coming. I go, dude, I wouldn't come to school because I don't like you.
And to that story, Ryan was the engineer at the time. He pulled,
Yeah.
Not
You-
this right.
no, he pulled me to the side. This is at old Station 7 before they
Yeah.
built the new one.
Yeah.
And he pulled me to the side and he gave me this whole talk about, are you sure you want to go there? Like you're gonna get failed. You're not, if like it's hard and you're gonna fail. And I probably wouldn't go to his program. And I was just laughing, like you don't know anything about me in school, and like you don't know if I'm a dumbass. You don't know if I'm a whatever. Like how you gonna just stereotype me and tell me I shouldn't go to this program. I just laughed. I was like, I'm fine.
But every day that I taught that class, I would read for hours before I would come in. Like I've never seen the book before. I would sit there all day, take notes. And then I would come in and I'm lecturing and I would pop quiz these motherfuckers. And the first day I showed up, I told them, if you didn't read the day before you came here, you ain't making it through the day. And like the class prior to your class, I graduated 4 people. Like out of like I think it was like 22 that started. Jason graduated from that class. Jason Marquez's class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Second time taking it, wasn't it?
No, that was the first time.
First time?
Yeah, but hey, man, like I'm telling you, Jay made
He barely made
he
it.
made the class. Like he made it. Like he earned his grade. Like that's for sure. There wasn't even no extra points, no nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
So that class was amazing, man. There was a girl named Liz who's I think she's like a nurse, anesthetist now, and she just came from Puerto Rico, got her ET, barely spoke English.
Mhm.
So everything I would say in the morning time, Liz would go like the first day of class. She'd go at lunchtime. She'd go, hey, and then she like would ask me in Spanish. So I spent every fucking lunch and 2 hours after class sitting there translating what I just said from to Spanish. Like,
Yeah.
and I remember getting this fucking shitty ass patient. I was on SC7 one day, right across the street. I wasn't at the home.
Yeah.
And like I remember Liz is going like, let me get this one, like okay, like thinking, and shit, she nailed that fucking tube, and I was like, man, that's awesome, because and then now she's fucking tubing people every day, putting them to sleep, I don't even know if she speaks
You're
English.
doing a great job.
Yeah, but
But she fixed your shitty Spanish.
yeah.
So,
Man, my Spanish ain't that bad.
no, it's not anymore.
Yeah.
But before that, it was.
Fuck you, Pablo. So hey, Pablo's about to have a kid.
No, I didn't.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna have a baby girl.
That was good. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I'm saying congratulations,
Wait
assuming
till
that
she's
you're happy.
13.
Man,
Good.
I hope you don't strip. It's gonna be weird to say Pablo's kid. It's gonna be goddamn weird, man. But I'm gonna
That's
do it.
your only goal, Pablo. Keep
I'm
her
gonna
off
do
the
it.
pole,
Keep her
man.
off the pole.
People go, who's that weird dude over there? That's my uncle.
Yeah, keep her
I
off the
love
pole.
Uncle Carlos.
I mean, if I have to show up there and get on the pole myself, I will.
Hey,
I've been known to do that.
Her.
Right.
so man,
I'm gonna
like,
trade a cock
anyways,
blocker.
Josh shows up to class. I got the Parada Puss teaching with me, and then that's right around the time Felix didn't want to compete no more. And then you
Yeah.
say, "Hey, man, I'm gonna start," and then I just made Josh and the other Josh compete.
I heard about it, not even from him. It was from Frank Hare at the Station 7 at the table. He goes, hey, I heard you're competing in the next competition with Carlos.
Yeah.
And what are you
Good
talking
luck.
about? Yeah, he's like, good luck. I go, what are you talking about? Yeah, it goes. And then
Yeah.
so I actually had to go and ask him. He goes, oh, yeah.
You compete.
I was going to tell you.
Yeah. But-
You're competing. I was going to tell you. But.
So Josh shows up to compete with me, and we went to Fire Rescue East that year.
Yeah, that's the first time.
Daytona Beach. And now, mind you, man, I've never made it to a final. Like I got probably 8 years of competing at that time. I'm in the shit, and I never make it to a final till you
Mhm.
and the other Josh show up.
Yeah, he took second in the prelims on first in the prelims.
First in the prelims, and then we go to the finals. And this part of the story is very relevant. People don't see that, but you'll see that this part being really relevant in a second. So the finals is the NASCAR into the stands. Remember that?
Yeah.
So the finals of this shit. You want to describe the shit like?
So yeah, they went all out. They rented they had the whole auditorium
Yeah, it's like a
available.
convention center. Yep.
They put bleacher seating up in like 2 or 3 sets, I want to say.
Yeah.
A bleacher seating. They had 60, 70 extras.
Yeah.
They had brought in
An
2
actual
NASCARs.
Actually, yeah, NASCAR. Yeah.
2 NASCARs.
Yeah.
And they had a whole pit crew. Like they had the actual people responsible for that NASCAR too there. So
Yeah,
you had
yeah.
a real pit crew around the vehicle. And it was just a big MCI. They simulated the NASCAR flipping into the stands on like a Daytona 500 or something, and then now you're the first crew to respond.
So-
a crew of 3 people.
So this is the craziest thing. It's a mass casualty incident, right? And you walk in, and the minute you walk in, you see all these people rush, like come out.
Yeah, it was like their first little test
Yeah.
to throw you off your game.
Yeah, so I follow all those people. When they come out, I follow all those people and they put me in a timeout for like 5 minutes. So for the rest of the time, I watch you guys assessing like 30 to 40 people.
Oh, yes, I'll take that from here.
Yeah.
So he goes, and I see him following these people, and I'm thinking, great, because I don't want to follow him. And then I didn't know where he was, and then when I finally figured it out, it was like 60 seconds later, he's like, oh no, your guy, he's in the timeout. So he's going to be there for 5 minutes, and I'm like, all right, no problem. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to do a head to toe on these 60 people.
Yeah, and
I thought I was doing the greatest thing ever. I was just decap BTLS and everybody,
Yeah.
giving them tags.
a lot of people don't know this is a 20-minute sum up scenario. You
Not
guys-
even, I don't think.
You guys assess the fuck out of people. I go, there ain't no way somebody beat us. The day before, the actual scenario was an organophosphate poison. You remember that shit?
Yeah.
And what was cool about that is that the last time we won the world championship
Was an organophosphate.
was again organophosphate.
It
poison.
was actually like a meth lab slash.
Yeah, explosion. Yeah.
But it was in a barn. So
Yeah.
or fertilizers. Yeah.
So
You can't get us on that, man.
yeah. So, anyways, we watched Pembroke Pines come in, Rolly and those guys.
Yeah. Well, first off, they're handsome. Very handsome men.
Beautiful men. Beautiful men.
Calendar guys.
Yeah. So when they come in, I think that's empty, homie.
You guys already went through the screwball.
There's a little bottle.
So
There's a little spit bottle.
Sorry.
so what are you doing? You looking at the thing? You looking at yourself?
Oh, look at that. Hey, I'm just looking at the chat here. Yanni said, what's up, guys?
Oh,
number
okay.
one. Number one.
Yeah, hey.
Yeah, it's a good part. Let's bring that in. Joni, hey, man, I'm very proud of you and what you're doing, Yanni. I love you,
Yanni's
man.
a
You're
nurse
killing it.
practitioner, man.
Yeah,
Wow.
you're killing it, Yanni.
So Yanni was the guy. So again, you gotta remember, I didn't like Josh in class. So Josh,
Yeah, for the first 3 months.
Josh is kicking ass in class, but Yanni was, was right next to Josh, like grades and shit, and I was just called Yanni number one.
Yeah, because I was cocky.
Right.
With the
Great
fact.
job, Yanni.
Yeah, so I still call him number one.
I'm not a humble person.
Yeah.
I mean, at least
What?
then. I'm not a humble
What?
person. I like to take credit for what I know I can do. And so when I was getting hundreds on these tests, everybody had to know.
Yeah. So anyway,
Even the
man,
secretary was like, I need you to watch. Hey, look at this. Put a gold star, a happy face.
Yeah.
Something.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, I fucked the curve up for you guys. Sorry.
so we show up and Rolly and those guys, they show up, man, and I didn't know where he pulled a megaphone from. Well, they had a megaphone.
Somebody did.
Yeah, and he goes, hey, if you can hear me and you can walk, just come right here. And like, let's say there's 60 people there, like 56 people got up
Out of the stands.
and moved to that area.
Right.
And those guys had to assess like 4 people. One was already dead.
One was under the NASCAR.
Yeah,
He was
and
a black guy.
Yeah, and it was crazy, man. They kicked ass and they won. They should win. That's how you work. That's how you worked at MCI, right?
Learned a lot. That day.
Yeah, absolutely. You worked with MCI, that was ridiculous. And then, you fast forward to where we're at in the world of we get there that night. And what's crazy about it is that day that we worked together, we had not worked together for like a year or some change.
No, yeah, and it was Walt Lewis. I want to say that was the only one who really gave me an explanation because I asked him one time, hey man, why can't? Because I asked to work, and he was like, oh no, sorry, Josh, we got to send you the rest of 11, and it was just like patch for patch switch. And this true story, he said, well, you're a good medic. Carlos is a good medic. We will, having you on the same truck is redundant. We're going to split you up, put you with weaker personnel or EMTs, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, because you were on the promotional list at the time.
Yeah,
so you
and they
would
did
go
that.
around.
They did that for 4.5 years.
Yeah.
We never rode the same truck
Yeah.
together. Not even the same district.
So what's crazy is that and you got things come back. You remember, I was having a shitty day the day before. Divorce shit, going through a bunch of stuff, and I was at Air Care the day before, and Josh, was working the first part of his 24.
Yeah,
His first 24
That's
at
at the same station.
Yeah,
7.
same
Yeah,
station.
they just happened that I switched with the person that was there. They kept me on SC7 for A shift.
And I remember leaving, because I was at South Seminole. So I remember leaving South Seminole, going to Stebbin that day, and Doc go, hey man, they're gonna keep me here. And I was like, man, that's fucking awesome. 'Cause I just had like a shitty day the day before. It wasn't like a shitty day flying. It was just a shitty day with all kinds of other shit going on. You know, with attorneys bullshit and all this stuff and all that. And then I remember going to getting to the station and shit, and that's like when you took that selfie, you know.
Yeah. So I was excited. It was probably like 8 a.m. I think when I took it. And then as I took a selfie where we were both in the cab, he closes his eyes notoriously on
Right.
fix
Yeah.
by accident, and I duck faced it real nice, which
Yeah.
probably wasn't the trend at that time, but I ain't woke.
Yeah.
And so I duck faced it, and I basically put it on Facebook. I said, you know, working with the myth, the legend, Carlos, been a long time since we worked together. It's gonna be a great day.
And and that's when we like people were commenting on it and shit.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. And we got a slew of comments that day before the post ever happened.
Yeah.
Then we got people
It was on the
responding
11th. It was on the 11th.
to what they said.
Yeah.
And so best example of that is a good friend of mine named Roger Hernandez, who he wrote, "Man, that's awesome. The city of Orlando has no idea what kind of healing it's going to get tonight." That's what he wrote.
Dale Raj.
Right. That's what he wrote. And then he revisited, like, man, had I known what was going to happen when I wrote this comment, like, oh my gosh, like, you know, like, yeah, he still talks about that.
So we basically, you know, we run some calls that day. It's kind of like a weird day at the station. But we run some calls. We go to a couple, you know, but we'll fast forward to something real quick. So you remember earlier that day we ran a call. There was a no patient.
Yeah.
Remember that shit?
Yep.
So, you know, back then you run calls in the reports, you can put no patient found. Like, you know, basically you went there, the people that call you, they go, hey, we don't need you.
We thought
Get out
we
of
did.
here.
Everything's fine.
And you write a no patient
There's
found.
no patient there.
You know
No
what
one
I'm
with a
saying?
complaint.
So basically, the pulse that happens and all the stuff that happens with that whole thing, it's the next January. You remember that shit? It was December. No, it was December.
Mhm.
Oh, so that's the pulse happens December. We get called to a meeting with you know,
EMS with the EMS
with the
chief,
chiefs and stuff.
District 3 wasn't even the real District 3 at that time.
Somebody riding up.
Who just decided to ride up. Someone named Kev.
Yeah,
So,
just
yeah.
keep the names off. Yeah, for the purpose of this. But you know what's crazy is that Manny Sinjoff was my partner for fucking years. Like this dude, and, you know,
Manny Centron, Manolo.
yeah, and I went, you know, me and Manny went to fire school together.
Shout out to Manolo.
Yeah, I was a squad leader in fire school. It was a big giant human being. And
We love
yeah, and Manny, remember Manny went to the meeting and he by himself, he dispatched himself to the meeting. He's like, hey, we're gonna go out of service for the meeting.
Yeah. I was
Because he knew-
driving Engine 11 that day. And he
Yeah.
was the-
Yeah, because he knew it was gonna be something fucked up.
He knew
And he walked in, Josh was up.
because of who was the EMS chief.
Yeah, that's not, you know, Ryan,
Who doesn't work there
yeah, he
anymore.
doesn't work there anymore, and like the people that hired him, then left to go.
Yeah.
You know,
Godspeed to you.
Yeah, so, but Josh gets there before me, and he is fucking pissed. Like, he is pissed, and he's just screaming. He's like, you don't know what the fuck this is about. And like, and anyways, I walked in there, and I remember them telling me to tell you to calm down. Remember that shit? I go,
And that I had to come in and apologize, and that's a direct order.
calm them down. And it's interesting because this was the beginning of the, like your personality.
My mental decline. Like you stop attacking me.
This is
When you feel, I felt like not only did the department not have our back that night, but then now they're trying to attack us after the fact.
so. I remember thinking that day, like going because you were off character that day. You were fucking pacing the parking lot. You were fucking
I
out of
was
it,
upset.
and you were so off character that I remember going like, "Motherfucker, just chill the fuck out.
Right.
This is nothing, bro.
So I'm gonna go in there and
Oh,
talk to him.
All you got to go in there and remember, I had to get you to go in there and apologize. I go, all you got to do is go in there and say sorry.
Again, because of
Yeah.
who was the chief at the time, was actually gonna write me up because he's a douche canoe.
Yeah, yeah. And I go, you know, this is the thing. Is that day changed brought up years of other shit for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what people don't get is it's all these different years of stuff that happened that Paul didn't just make that happen. A lot of it came up after that.
Yeah.
So, you know, again,
Just the hand, like who knows what would have happened if I was actually handled right from the beginning.
Yeah.
They learned a
We
lot
were given the opportunity
to
help.
even get help. I mean, here is a department that I'm asking to use my own hours, meaning
vacation.
a vacation. I will use my vacation for you to let me go and talk to someone. Denied.
So you know what's interesting is a lot of people don't know. So again, False happened. Prior to False, we had decided we were going to do this like company shit. We started trying to and then we get we ordered a chair from a company. We won't mention who they are. And
Yeah.
the company wanted to charge us a bunch of money to pay them to use the fucking chair. I already paid for the chair.
Right, and now you gotta pay like a royalty
Yeah,
every time you use it.
yeah. So I'm like, fuck that shit. I'm not gonna pay that. So then we get a guy to build a chair, and then I had opened my mouth about starting a company about doing water egress and shit, and then Matt's like, hey man, we need that class.
Which, if you're listening,
Yeah.
that he built a hell of a chair.
Yeah, he did. He did a great job.
Great job.
So anyways, I built the chair, but I was in the process when the thing happened with Josh. What happened? We'll get into that.
Yeah,
He got you in trouble. The day that happened, that was the day we were in the process of sending the old chair back, getting the new chair. Remember that shit?
Yeah.
And that was like the whole thing. There was a lot of shit going on, and you know how like 5 minutes of your life change everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can. Yep.
If I could have took 5 minutes to go, don't fucking do that.
Yeah. I mean, I know. Yeah.
You remember I've told you this before.
Mhm.
Like that 5 minutes, I was gonna go on. But man, do not fucking. do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. You were overwhelmed and you weren't thinking.
I was so concentrated on other shit.
But
that day.
what I did was not a rule violation. It was actually a rule that nobody remembered.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you can't fault the guy for knowing the rules.
Yeah, absolutely. So, anyways, we that day we're working, and it's a crazy day. And Josh has this button of like Josh would stay up all day at the fire station, and because if he went to sleep, he would actually be this upset human being. when
Yeah.
he would wake up.
I felt like I would not provide adequate enough health care.
So they would stay up playing
So,
video games.
Stay
and
up
shit.
as long as possible.
And I sleep in a chair at the fire department. I've slept in a chair 20 years. I worked in the city of Orlando, and I can tell you that I did not sleep in a bed. And a couple times.
Right.
And but when I got sent to 10, I took Jockin's bed,
Mm-hmm.
and I would just make up a bed. Like I went and got bed sheets. I
Yeah,
bought them,
yeah, yeah.
and I would just make up a bed just so he wouldn't have that
Yeah.
bed.
You don't lay on another man's
And
bed sheet.
And then every time he would change the bed, I would take the bed because I had seniority, and I would just make him move beds.
Yeah, like, I think I'm gonna have this bed
I never
today.
used the bed. Yeah.
Oh, Carlos, you don't use the bed.
I know.
I might use it
I'm
tonight.
raising it tonight. So that's what he said. So, anyways, so I forget where I was, but like that's some funny shit. That night you went to sleep because you were on a 48.
Yeah. I wasn't able to sleep on that 48. The night of the first 24, I couldn't sleep. We ran a lot of calls, and for me, like other people have the gift, like Carlos, where they can just fall right back to sleep right away. It takes me 20, 30 minutes, and that's enough to get another call.
Right.
So
Just
So,
as
yeah,
your
so I was
eyes.
having a very bad night of sleep. So the next day, when they leave us on the rescue, thanks to the female chief, who's awesome, and I asked
that's
her.
Renee. You can
That
tell
was Renee. Renee was
Yeah, I got
awesome.
her, Renee.
Renee's great. They were switching again, patch for patch. Only she was like, this is pretty stupid, Josh. You were here for 24 hours. Your bed's made. We got the truck checked out. I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah.
Thank you, Renee. And that's why we were on the same rescue for that day.
So we make it basically that when Josh goes to sleep that night, this is the best.
Oh,
part.
and all day, by the way,
Yeah.
was an opportunity to sleep. Carlos
yeah.
put in like 10 hours of sleep that day during the day
Yeah, we had
because
like 2 or 3 calls.
we had a great day. Meanwhile, I couldn't sleep to save my life.
At all.
So
Tried.
So earlier in the day, we ran out of dude with stomach pains, and we took him to ORMC.
Yep.
Went 3 hours, like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Last call was right before dinner.
21-year-old,
Yeah.
great vitals.
Yeah, normal dude, put him in triage at OMC. It's probably, it's a Saturday at OMC. You know how that shit is.
Yeah.
It's just fuck. So we
I've
go.
been there before.
Yeah. So we go back, and then Josh goes to bed. That was the best thing because I remember it's like 10:30 at night. And he goes to sleep. I'm gonna get a nap in. It's a good day.
And I did actually fall
Yeah.
asleep.
And I go, God, please give us a call. Call. Just wait an hour and dispatch the shit out of this truck. And like, cause I know this man's gonna wake up with no soul.
Yeah.
It's gone. It's going out of him.
Yeah.
And he responded that day with the same address, the
Was he a
same.
redhead?
Huh?
Was he
Yeah.
a redhead?
No.
Oh.
His kids are ready.
Yeah.
Anyways, He wakes up
So I got basically an hour and a half of sleep and we got dispatched.
to, so it's like one or, it got longer than that. It's one issue something in the morning when we get
It
up.
was about, it was one something when we got up,
Yeah.
but before 1:30.
Yeah. And we get to the same address, same 23-year-old dude, same fucking complaint, abdominal pain.
I gotta swap the battery on the camera.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Are we still doing Facebook Live?
We've been.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've been
live.
Yeah.
Doing.
Hi, Facebook.
Yeah, are people actually commenting?
Yeah. We've had a lot of hellos.
Hi.
So MH Campbell says, "Hey Trish."
Hi.
We have Justin Barrett. Good to see y'all from Atlanta, Georgia.
All
Right.
We got
We could probably.
Pablo saying, "Trish, say hello."
Hello, Pablo.
Carmen
And,
saying, "Hola."
oh, and so we have 5 people watching.
Hi,
Yeah.
Mom.
We've got 5 people watching us, which is probably Trisha's mom and dad.
That's two.
And then the other 3, we're not sure.
So
My mom
anyway,
and dad
Mom's
do
in the mix.
Facebook Live.
we get sent to the same address. Same fucking address, same complaint.
Same
Um,
address.
I'm so sorry,
Yeah, go
but the
ahead.
best comment just came in.
Yeah.
Chris Morgan says they are just realizing they were live.
How did you know?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's great.
Yeah.
We love Chris.
Yes, we do.
Chris, you're right on.
Yeah.
You're totally right.
You are correct, sir.
So, listen, so Josh is pissed going to this call.
Because I recognize the address. I know it's the same dude.
Same
Same
dude.
dude.
Same dude.
Same
So,
complaint.
so what ended up happening is the guy called an Uber, went back to his house,
Let's call 911.
couldn't sleep, called 911 again. He wants to take him to a different hospital.
Yeah, that hospital didn't treat me quick enough.
Yeah,
I want to go
he's
to.
still fucking triage.
So
I wanna go
Josh was
somewhere
like,
else.
we're gonna go back.
Listen,
Oh.
I am so
Oh,
sick.
Pablo,
I
you
I know.
can't get out of triage.
You know. So listen.
Oh, I do.
This is what happened, Pablo. When we get there, Josh is pissed, and Josh gives me the I'm gonna handle this.
Yeah, like I'm gonna get the refusal out of this
He's
right
gonna get a
now.
refusal out of this dude. So he gets in there, and Josh would do this whole thing, but he was fucking like building, like that he uses hands and shit,
Right.
doing this, and
I
and
swing
then
well with my
and then I would go, then I would sit in the background. I wouldn't say shit, and then I would wait, and I would go, so you want to go to the hospital? And the guy would go, yeah, well, just get in. And like this motherfucker just spent 10 minutes wasting his time.
And every now and then I would realize that, and I would just go, "Let's go."
Hey, so we load the dude up, and now you might imagine the dude couldn't sleep because his stomach hurt. But then you get him in the ambulance.
He's fine.
He found,
He's
sound
absolutely perfect.
snoring.
Snoring.
Yeah.
And
Like a baby in a
Exactly
like a
what
baby
happens
in a
when they
car.
get to the ER.
so we got the camera in the back. We got the camera in the back.
And
So-
this is important too because the backup camera was actually working at this time.
yeah, backup camera's working. The camera in the back of the truck is working.
Yep.
So you can see inside the rescue, right? So like Josh is watching the dude. Every time the dude would doze off, Josh would turn.
Oh
So the
yeah.
dude- so the
I
dude
would
yeah.
jerk the wheel to so that his head would hit the
Yeah.
cabinet.
Oh,
Dude, so what people
And
don't,
but the best part about it was it turned my mood right around, Pablo.
yeah,
Because every time he did it, it was. All right, if they can see me, this was the look on his face. The look on his face was like if a ghost just hit him, or like so he fall asleep, and then he'd go,
Ugh.
and he'd look around, and Carl's in the captain's chair, so Carl's not next to him, and he would just look around like, what the hell was that? And then he would fall right back to sleep again. So bam, hit his head, and just start looking around. You know, like it was, and that made me so happy. Right until Carlos, I didn't realize was in his what were those pants?
so you know, Steve Orlando would give you
Dak wool.
before they had these wool pants.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah,
great
yeah.
for sliding against.
Yeah,
water.
like they were comfy. They would dry quick and shit. But those things would slide on that leather, right?
Right.
So I'm busting my ass every time he does this shit. I'm coming off that chair and I'm fucking falling. I'm like, stop fucking
Yeah,
jerking
so
the wheel, ass.
he hits the window thing in the middle. Stop what you're doing.
So we take the dude. When I tell the dude, I say, "Well, you want to go to a different hospital?" He goes, "Yeah, just get in." And Josh goes, "We're going to a different hospital." Fuck no, take that dude right back where he went.
Right back to Orange.
And, you know,
I said, thank you.
And I don't work there anymore, so y'all can write me up. If y'all want. So, so
Me too.
yeah,
I
so
don't think anybody's doing it.
no, I don't work. That's somewhere,
Yeah.
I'm good.
No. I'm
So-
talking about far.
Yeah. So anyways, man, like the so we take the dude, put him back in the. I think I put him back in the same exact chair I put him in the first time.
Yeah.
It was fucking
In
great.
triage?
Yeah. Anything to, to keep
You
you
know,
going.
Triage loves you in there.
Yeah, I know.
I
You
know,
know? So
I'm just saying.
anyways, I'm
You put
talking.
him right back in there,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
that's when you notice
Yeah.
Jimmy, your buddy
Yeah,
Jimmy.
yeah, so I'm talking to my buddy, and we're talking there, and remember, allegedly he wasn't there at the time. You know what I'm saying? So I'm talking to him on the radio. He's got his radio going and stuff, and then the freaking
Before any 911 calls were dispatched.
we
Gunshots were heard.
only like in stereo, man. Like you hear this dude going, shots fired, officer engaged,
Like just screaming that he's
the
being
actual
shot at.
language, the actual language I don't like, couldn't repeat, but and then you hear false nightclub. But like as they're saying it, like you can hear it in stereo, right? Because you can hear we're outside.
I'm in the
hospital.
bay. I'm listening to
You
what I
can
think
hear
are
it.
fireworks.
Yeah, and it sounds to me because again, you gotta remember, I've never heard anything like this.
No, and-
I've
and
never
same.
seen this thing.
Same.
And so and like I'm hearing this, like like in stereo.
Right,
It's
right.
fucking
And
happening.
then you heard that calm voice.
Yeah. That what's crazy is, so I start watching the timeline thing. With at the time we going around doing the talk and we doing all this stuff, a lot of names and stuff didn't get said or anything like that.
Yeah.
But the guy, Adams, the guy's name, that was the off-duty officer that's making the call, right?
Mhm.
The dude that's engaging the guy, at the time. That guy was police academy with my ex.
Oh, really?
I didn't realize that
It's a
shit.
small
So I'm
world,
listening,
man.
so I'm listening to the shit. And that's the crazy shit. That dude, this guy.
Yeah.
It's like 2 or 3 months before even Falls happened. That dude, we seen him on a thing we were at. Me and you were at, and this dude was the OPD guy there.
I probably remember
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
That song.
So when we see that guy, so mind you, that's what's going on right now. So the dude I'm talking to gets in his truck, takes off. And you
And
don't
this
think
is
about it.
for everyone. This is the black pickup truck that you've seen the most
Yeah.
in all the video
He
clips that
doesn't
they show.
say anything like see you later, nothing. Just like gone.
He's gone. Yeah, no, he knows what he has to do.
And before we get into it, since we're live and all that stuff, people listen to it and you're about to hear some disturbing shit. So
Yeah,
you don't-
we're
you don't
basically
wanna-
telling
you don't-
how we were the first two medics of the Pulse shooting in 2016, and you're
Yeah.
going to hear a lot of graphic stuff moving
Yeah,
forward.
so just so kind of bear that in mind, and and this is the thing. When I run out to Josh, and usually when we do the talk, I tell him I was very calmly saying this shit, but I was screaming.
Oh,
at the top
yeah,
of my
yeah.
lungs. Dude, there is a shooting down the street. Let's go. Like that's all.
And yeah, when we do these talks, he mentioned, basically he came out in a very smooth, very white tone. He said, Josh, down the street,
Let's
there are shots.
Yeah,
I need you to collect yourself
follow the truck.
and get me there.
Follow the truck.
Now, what I heard was, like that's what I heard. I heard shooting down, like in a very high pitched tone or low, whatever. That they're shooting, and then that's when I realized that what I had been listening to for about 60 seconds was gunshots, not firecrackers.
So you hear the Berea gunshots. We drive down the street. When
We
we're-
follow, without question,
Yeah,
we
you
follow,
go straight down,
we
right?
follow that pickup truck right to the poles.
Now, what we see from this moment on is what like a lot of people don't know that actually seen, and this is the thing that we're fucking witnessing this thing.
Right,
So, like,
the real hero.
so you pull up and you watch this OPD officer get out of his truck
Mhm.
and start engaging this dude.
Right.
Like just engaging, just start shooting in there. He didn't get behind a car. He didn't get behind a wall. He just starts fucking going in there.
Yeah, like even if it was a movie, they would have had him like maybe post up at the door and then go in. No, he did
Nah,
not.
man.
He didn't dip. He didn't dap. He didn't shake. He didn't move. He didn't float like a butterfly or sting like a bee. He literally walked right into the darkness that was that club, firing back at the flashes we were seeing.
Yeah, so we're seeing
And that's when I
flashes.
remember you going, "Where if we can see flashes? We're too close." You
Yeah,
gotta
I
back
go,
up.
I go, man, that's probably shooting.
Right. We should back up so we don't get in trouble. You know how many times that night, and I thought about this since we talked, how many times that night we just engaged about how we were going to be in so much trouble for what we were doing.
Yeah, it's just the reality of it, right?
Yeah.
At that moment in time, you
That
might be
we
in
know.
trouble for it, and it's just insane. So you backed the truck up to Owens and,
to basically right adjacent to Station 5's bay door.
yeah, so we're like right in the middle of the street at the moment in time, like just between the 7-Eleven and the station.
Right. And to be and the streets were quiet at the time.
Yeah,
I mean, we're talking the off-duty officer, the black pickup truck, and the other vehicles were starting to move there.
yeah.
Like, there was,
Yeah,
they
they're
weren't.
coming. They're
Yeah.
coming. You know what's crazy? I thought about the other day. Remember the bicycle dude? The OPD bicycle guy.
Oh, yeah,
That dude came
OPD
and
bicycle
like that guy
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
rode right next to my door. He threw the bicycle.
And
like,
just
it was
took
like,
off.
how the fuck did that guy get here so fast? Because you gotta
Because he's
remember,
downtown, doing
I
his
was,
thing,
working,
you
I
know?
was working that off duty downtown all the time. I would work that
The station,
the state, the also
Substation.
the substation. I would work that, and that's coming from downtown. That dude rode a bicycle from downtown.
Yeah.
So
To do his job.
yeah, to do his
Oh,
fucking
wow.
job in shorts. Like this motherfucker came, and you know that's the thing that OPD man, they did what they fucking
They
went
did
in there.
a great job.
They went in there and they were doing the right thing, and it's just like to not be not said that shit. Those motherfuckers, they fucking went in there and engaged this motherfucker. They put him in the bathroom
Yeah.
at that moment in time. They put this dude in the bathroom because that's the only when you look at the timeline, you look at the
Yeah.
shit what we were looking at and seeing. That's the explanation of it. And they put this dude in the bathroom and like,
Making him retreat.
yeah, absolutely. And dude, I'm gonna tell you, man, and it's something you need to watch. When you watch that timeline thing on YouTube, it's like you're listening to it from people that were in there.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
fucking hearing this shit, man, because we heard this story at the end. You'll hear it in a second. So, anyways, they put the dude in the bathroom, and then we see this wave of people come out.
Yeah,
Mind you,
yes.
we're in the front of the station.
So it did two things, what he did by going in there and basically being a hero's hero and engaging this
You
guy.
will have more bodies, right?
Right. He forced him to retreat back to the bathrooms that were on the ground level. That did two things. The good thing it did was allow the people that were hiding upstairs to now run out of the club, and that was the wave of people we saw running. I mean, say at least 70 or so
Yeah.
running like out of the street. Hardly anyone ran the opposite direction. They were all running toward us and the fire station. But unfortunately,
Yeah.
it forced him back into the bathroom.
Yeah.
And now that was his refuge for the next hours and hours and hours. So
Yeah.
the people that decided to hide in those bathrooms unfortunately was an unlucky place to hide.
So when these wave of people come out, man, Josh is like opening the door. Going,
I'm getting ready to
go check the shit. And I
check everybody.
And you remember this shit? I remember grabbing his arm and I go like, "Hey, bro, chill the fuck out. Why are we chasing people, man?"
Yeah, someone's asking right now. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, they asked.
We'll get to that. Someone said we know about that. Hey, do you know anything about the helicopter
Yeah, I was
crash?
gonna say,
That he's
right,
heard?
Yeah, we did. We mentioned that earlier. You know, we had for people who listen to it live. There's a helicopter crash, Leesburg Airport, right where
Where your station is.
Yeah, air carrier. We got a helicopter right there. You know, and we don't know. They're still in the
Yeah.
process of the.
But
you
it's
know,
just another example of
Yeah,
how
dangerous it is.
dangerous
Yeah,
that
we had mentioned that earlier before we went live and stuff like that. So yeah, we got those people in our thoughts and prayers for sure.
Absolutely.
So you know, this is sucks. That's a business, man. That's a business, man. This is again, you're only giving is taking off.
Yeah.
So back to this thing though, man. Like Josh,
There's a flood of people running at us, and I'm
People
gonna jump out of this vehicle, and I'm going to find.
he's gonna
a
start
patient.
triaging
Right.
people, right? He's gonna start triaging people, and I go, "Hey, man, what the fuck you doing?"
He grabbed me by the shoulder, pulled me back
You remember-
because we did have people banging on the
Yeah,
rescue
yeah.
too,
I
like
know.
just pointing, like basically telling us to go in the club.
Yeah. And you remember, I go, Josh, man, we fucking remember
Daytona.
remember Fire Rescue East? That was 10 years before, bro.
Yeah.
Where I chased all those people running.
And
You know?
then was out of the scenario.
Yeah. So it's like, why you gonna put yourself out?
And right after that, we made a rule for competitions because when you go to which we competed a ton, 10 a year,
10 years.
and we make the finals a lot, and every finals is a mass casualty incident. So without knowing it, we had tons of mass casualty incident training. You know what I mean? And two people that did it together at a high level for a long time.
Yeah, man, we won the World Critical Care Championships 3 times.
Right.
3 times we won the World Critical. That's beating physicians and doing all kinds. We competing
Right.
against doctors, man. We're beating
So he grabs me by the shoulder and says, "Remember Daytona?
Yeah.
If they're running,
they ain't patient.
they're not a patient.
Yeah.
They don't need our help."
They ain't patient, man. So,
Wait for the person that's not running.
so basically, man, like, soon as I say that, what happened?
Right. So everybody clears like out of the way, and then there you see a couple people dragging from our left to our right, which is where the 7-Eleven is, if you're familiar with the area. From where the 7-Eleven is, he was being drugged to the fire station,
Yeah.
where other people were hiding too. I remember, well, you know, you get vivid memories that stay with you throughout this entire. And one of mine is a bunch of people laying in the grass at Station Park before they ever opened the bay doors on their phones, you know, and then I don't know, taking pictures of us, video of us, or just texting about. I don't know. Everybody was on their phones, and the bay doors hadn't opened yet, and so they
Yeah.
basically dropped them on the apron of
Yeah.
the fire station.
So when they do that, that's when the doors are coming up.
Yep.
And I remember keying up on the radio and going Rescue 7 Orlando
We
because I
yeah.
was still basically at ORMC's.
Right. Things are getting dispatched at this
Yeah,
point.
they're getting dispatched
and,
now, yeah.
without going into it too further, basically, I have to say,
Yeah.
the highest ranking officer that night, who was supposed to take command, did not take command. He shirked his duty and is otherwise a coward. Who did take command was a
Brian
gentleman named Brian Davis.
Brian
That
Davis.
would you say is 2 levels as far as rank goes?
Yeah, I would say the level below.
Right. He's
Yeah.
a level below.
Yeah.
And it was not his job to take
But he
command,
did a
but he did it.
he
and
did a great
and he
job.
killed it. I mean, he
did
did
a great job.
with the shit sandwich he was dealt.
Yeah, did a great job.
And so he was on the radio at that time saying all available rescues, ambulances, everybody needs to come to Gore and Orange Avenue
Yeah.
and park and stay there until OPD tells us the scene is safe and we can enter. Which we know now in a mass casualty incident, if this, I mean, well, I'm sorry, as a mass shooting is concerned, that's a whole different animal. It's a whole different
It's
animal.
not MCI, right?
It's not built for, you know, MCI protocols are not built for something that is constantly making more victims.
Yeah,
more
making
victims.
patients, making reds.
Every
Making
time you
reds.
come back, more patients.
So you know, like the craziest thing with that whole thing is that at that point in time, we get the guy, we go to him, and the doors open up, and
Right.
there's David Sodell sitting there, right? And there's this Orlando legend of a fire lieutenant, man, like, you know, been to, and he's sitting there, and to take people back, as we started winning competitions and stuff, the only contribution the department gave to us was they gave us like expired
defibrillator.
defibrillator pads.
Yep.
I remember the shit. We got a bunch of supplies for you. And it's boxes of the expired defibrillator pads. So we started cutting the wires off of those. We started making occlusive dressings with them. Remember?
Yeah,
That's
they
what
work
we
great.
used.
They work great in competition.
Yeah.
Cut tons of time.
Yeah.
And if you needed to burp it, you can still burp it, and it'll
Yeah.
stick right back.
Yeah,
I mean, those things
absolutely.
are meant to stick to blood, sweat, tears, vomit.
Everything.
If you're listening and do never try to do the Vaseline gauze 3-sided tape, you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
Take your EKG pads out of the life
Defibrillator
pack.
pads. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Take the pads out.
Yeah.
Cut them and use that.
So
Yeah.
so
You
we
can
get
even
to
use the
the guy.
pediatric ones.
So we get to this guy. I'll let Josh finish it up. But you know, we cut the dude's clothes. Like we're heads down.
Yeah, you cut his clothes.
Yeah, so I get
he's
down,
ahead
I
of me. I'm
yeah,
bringing the
I come
stretcher.
out. I go, Josh, bring the stretcher, meet me. So we're heads down on this dude. We cut his clothes off. Brian Stillwell was there. Remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
And they've had their monitor out. And I remember opening the monitor. I grabbed the pads,
Yeah.
and Josh had scissors.
This is
and,
when I had my
Yeah.
scissors right on my
and,
side.
and I remember somebody go, "Hey man, he's got a pulse. Why are you grabbing the pads?" And
Yeah,
Josh goes like,
thinking we're gonna
he
we're
cuts
gonna
the cord.
shock him.
cuts the cords off. I open it up. Boom, boom, there. Turn them over. Put the pads on.
And this is just stuff we've done in competition.
Yeah, competition,
You don't
man.
have to talk.
And then I go, hey, man, head toes done, no bleeding, no control. Let's go. Get in the truck. Get in the truck. Stillwell's driving us to the hospital.
This was the only time we were in the back of the truck at the same time. And so you're sitting in the captain's chair. I'm basically on the bench. He has all his wounds closed, and he's pale. He's diaphoretic. He's shot. You know what I mean? And he's grasping onto me, you know, to the point that I could barely move, and just staring me down, saying, "Don't let me die," constantly, over and over again. "Don't let me die. Don't let me die. Don't let me die." So, fuck it. I said, "You're not gonna die, buddy. You know, look at me. Look me in the eyes. You're not dying today. You know, I'm giving everybody hope."
So
You
you're
know?
a block from ORMC. So
And
on the radio.
as I'm
trauma-
saying-
trauma alert.
Yeah, and that's why Carlos wasn't saying anything to me at this point. He's letting the hospital know that does not know that there's this going on, that hey, we're bringing in a trauma alert, and we're going to probably be back with a lot more. As that's being done, and I'm basically holding on to this guy's arm, telling him, "You're not going to die. You're not going to die." This is a true story, exactly as it sounds. Oh, good, you can see me. I swear to God, this is true. So I'm talking to him, right? And he's laying with his head back against the stretcher. And Carlos yells, because he's at the captain's chair, so he's yelling at the top of his head. He says, "Turn your head to the right!" Just screams, "Turn your head to the right." And as he's laying there, like, and me and him are being engaged, engaging each other, he turns his head to the right without any hesitation whatsoever. And then that was when I saw Carlos drop the fastest 14 gauge EJ that I've ever seen in my life. It was this. This is what it was. It was, "Turn your head to the right." Hey Josh, hand me that, and because what's funny is, why did I do this? I don't know.
Remember.
But that day I grabbed one of those.
I remember when you said that. Like, so earlier that day, I remember giving you remember the big central line dressings and shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember giving that to somebody at the hospital. Doctor, "What's the biggest bean of dogs I've ever seen?"
Yeah.
So
I might use this as an exclusive
So-
dressing just to see how it works.
So he Pine Hilled like 5 of those bean
I'll
of
give
dogs.
you a-
Yeah. They just happened to stuck. They stuck with me. I don't know my shoe.
5 of those in
They're
there.
fantastic.
They stuck onto my
Yeah.
shoe, and I ended up with a few.
So he puts that. So he goes, "Hey, I got the big Vino guard," and he fucking put. That's what we put.
Yeah, I got the actual. Yeah, and he goes, "Oh, perfect. That's the exact one I need."
Yeah.
And that was it. And then we were at the hospital.
We were at the hospital. So we get to the hospital, and I remember Sarah was the charge nurse in that. So she wasn't
Yeah.
a charge. She's like a first
Sarah.
time doing it. Yeah, I remember her name, man.
It's very nice to mention. She's also very pretty.
Very pretty lady. So you try to look cool in certain
Yeah.
situations. You don't want to look too things. So I remember like talking to her, putting my stethoscope down, going like, "Hey,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people shot and stuff." And then I remember you and Stillwell trying to clean the stretcher. And I go,
Yeah, just muscle memory. My
Yeah.
muscle memory. I'm in an instant.
Yeah.
My adrenaline's running.
I go, what?
I'm not yet dialed in. Because we get shootings a lot. I'm not thinking that this is the magnitude it's going to be at this point. So my muscle memory is, because there was blood all over the stretchers. I'm just gonna give this a quick
I
and
go,
go.
what the fuck are y'all doing? Just load
Let's
it
go,
up.
let's
Let it
go.
There's more. So now when you come out of ORMC and you stand at the stop sign, you make a right. That's what
Right.
it says.
It actually says right turn only,
only, right?
because
Because
there's
you're
too
not
many.
supposed to turn left.
You
on
can't
the
turn
turn
left. It'll cause
Can't turn left,
it
right?
causes accidents. It's won't
So-
get bad.
So if
I go left.
yeah, so if you turn left, there's
You
Gore.
would.
I do.
The Gore is that way. That's where the staging is.
Yeah, yeah,
And I remember, Josh comes out and he turns from right.
right. And then
Now-
ask him. We went right.
I go, Josh goes, "Hey, you want to go to the staging?" And I was like, "Hey man, like really?
Yeah, like it was. I wasn't gonna go.
We're here. We're here already. So
You
you just go right.
Right.
So when he turns right, you go right back to it. Now you gotta imagine the engine 5. Now you got engine 101, and you got tower 1 there. So like that's what you got. Like
You're right.
that's it. Those guys are setting up the staging and stuff. You know what I mean? We're like all in front of station 5 when that's happening. And then
So that's like the best EVOT course ever.
yeah. So and then you gotta imagine too, the landscape is nothing but cop cars.
Oh yeah, and we all
Nothing
know.
but cop
We all
cars.
know that they think about EMS when they park.
Yeah, it's cop cars everywhere. So we
No,
pull
they
up
don't.
right to the front of the station, and Josh gets out. And I remember you had grabbed the triage bag. So
Yeah. Oh, I clipped it on.
Yeah, he clipped
with
the triage
because
back
this
to
was
it.
muscle memory from
Yeah, with the
competition
thing.
with the ribbons.
and he was like,
And I was ready with a plan
Yeah,
because
exactly.
we knew what we do with MCI now.
Yeah.
And we're right by the station. Based on where they were staging at Gore, I knew they could just make a loop to come right down Cayley,
Yep.
pick people up off the apron. That was my reds,
Come down to cool.
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Apron reds, greens to the grass, yellows inside the bay.
yeah.
That was my thing.
So Josh is going to like the whole plan.
And I'm yelling this out to everybody. This is what we're doing.
So this is when OPD, this
Yeah.
guy from OPD comes up, and he goes, OFD, what the fuck
Yeah,
is going
yeah.
on?
Don't set up here.
We got
Everybody's
people.
over there.
So he's pointing to the Einstein bagels, and he goes, "Everybody's beyond the Einstein bagel. We're dragging them there for you."
That was the quickest
Go,
place
go.
for them to drag.
Fuck. I remember the guy saying
Yeah,
"fuck"
yeah,
like
yeah,
3
yeah.
times. Fuck. Go now. And I remember that's when I looked over. And when I looked over, right at that time as I'm looking over, this dude, like well dressed, fucking hyperventilating man in front of me. And he's just fucking breathing really fast. And I'm like, and I looked at him and I was like, "Buddy, you okay? Chill the fuck out. You're gonna pass out." And I remember
And then-
moving him. Like I moved him out of the way
Mhm.
because I see this dude and he's got this like just blood spurting.
Never seen anything like this before in my life. Wasn't even sure it was possible. Like
What's up, Maria?
I want to just say something quick. I'm no way, in any way, shape, or form trained or know of what you guys do. And first of all, on behalf of just citizens among us, thank you so much for all the service that you guys provide and just keeping the city and the state, just everything you do. Thank you so much.
And that has to extend to everyone in the
Yeah,
industry.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
No, 100%. And you just made a comment that I almost had a seizure over here because I'm like,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
the hell do you mean by that? And you had said that OPD was dragged, Einstein's Bagels was the point.
Right behind
Casualty
the
collection.
Einstein.
Right behind the Einstein's
Which
Bagels.
is right
So,
across the street.
Across the street.
so was OPD dragging the bodies?
Yes.
Yeah, they were basically, OPD was rescuing the people from inside,
On the
bringing
dance
them
floor.
to like a collection point.
Oh,
Because they're in there and there's still a bad guy.
Right.
Oh, wow.
So
So the people who couldn't move,
Yeah.
seeing
they were dragging.
seeing the pictures and talking when they had him back where they had him, they had a whole perimeter set up where he wasn't coming there. So then the rest of the officers could come in
yeah.
and pull out patients they thought were viable.
Now you got to remember, and this is the thing that, they're such humble individuals. These guys that were there that night, so in the police,
Oh, yeah.
guys are so humble that a lot of people don't understand what we're talking about. Let me explain to you.
How well they did.
There's
their job.
still a bad guy inside, and these guys are putting their guns to the side. I mean, they're trying to get that guy, but they're more concentrated on getting people out of there. They couldn't get out of there themselves.
They know the importance.
And that's the thing that, like, people are saying, like, this is an active shooter. Let me explain to you. I was talking to Justin this morning. I was telling him we want to record this.
And this is, I wish he was here.
You know,
I do
yeah,
too.
he wanted to be here. And like Justin Hartley, and, you know,
And Jimmy.
and Jimmy Reyes is one of the people that don't understand, like, so they're part of like the people that are doing the triage and stuff, right?
Right.
Like they're running the casualty collection point.
But they have no way
Yeah.
to get patients to the hospital.
Yeah, so people don't, when you don't think of MCI, the EMS people out there, mass casualty incident, we would sit there and like we would sort the people out into, you know, worst to, you know, because we're trying to do the greatest good for the greatest number of people because resources are less than the amount of patients.
Very
So when you're dealing with that situation, you're trying to like, you know, triage. Well, here's a fucking thing. This is a active shooter. Think of the name, active. He's continuously making fucking patients.
Yeah.
So just as you sort everybody out, you get a whole new sort of people.
Right.
So who's more red than the next guy? So you got
You're constantly resorting
so Justin just did a MCI training yesterday, did it
with his department.
with this
Yep.
department. And he had the casualty collection point thing, and like the guy asked him, "How did you think this go?" And he goes, "This ain't real. This ain't the way things go." And the guy goes, "No, that's the way things go. You guys did a good job." And he goes, "No, sir, that ain't the way things go, but that's cool." And he goes, "How would you know?" And he goes,
Yeah.
"Sir,
I
I
did the same job at
I
Paul.
was the triage guy at the
Full shooting.
The full
that
shooting.
exhausted every
Yeah.
drug box that showed up.
Yeah. So that's the biggest thing that we're you know, like people don't understand that thing. You know what I mean? We'll get into that here in a second. So when there's a geyser of blood coming out of this guy's leg, and it's funny
And
when
I didn't see it at that point, but he did.
And I
he
started
took off
running that way.
at a sprint.
and I was like, Josh, bring the
No.
rescue right at this point.
Right.
here.
I'm
That point.
responsible for getting this rescue. These people are not going to be dragged like this. It would have been like 100-foot drag if I had to leave the rescue where I was. But I'm looking at a sea of police vehicles. I remember even seeing, Eatonville was there too. You know, like right away, man. This was a great response by police departments. But I'm looking at this, and obviously they don't think about where they, you know, and how am I going to navigate this? Now the story, coming back to the story with the backup camera, where I was making the guy hit his head every so often. I guess the camera didn't like that because it stopped working. When I tried turning it back, and this was before the pulse started, when I got to the hospital, and was like basically it just went out, and I was trying to do stuff with it, and it wouldn't come back on, and I don't know. So basically. That wasn't working for me. The shift before, which was me, broke
the
the
mirror.
onside driver's mirror.
Yeah.
You know, now I had to blame it on C shift, I think.
Well,
But-
you wrote the driver's side, the passenger
The-
side mirror.
No, drivers.
What's that? It was
Drivers.
I guess, right?
So all I had was passenger side mirror on a rescue, and that's it.
No convex mirror, nothing.
No, I mean it's on there, yeah,
Right.
but I mean So honestly, looking at it, my thing was, so first
Look out
off,
the window.
as Carlos is running, I just got to get out to him that, because I got to let him know.
I can't bring the truck where you want it. And I said,
I don't think I can get the truck back there,
I
man.
said, fuck man, you grew up in Vine Hills. You put this truck any fucking where you want. So
And he really did say this.
Yeah,
As his
that's
friend
for
turned
sure.
around, you motherfucker, you grew up in Pine Hills. Get that shit back here. Like, that's what I remember. Get that shit back here.
so
And you know what? And I'm one of those people who grew up a certain way that's motivation talk to me,
That's right.
right?
So-
that's not you hurt my feelings. That's motivation.
So you know what? On the way back to the station before, I had filled my pockets up with shit. Like I cut a bunch of defibrillating pads, I put a bunch of
Grab 14 gauges.
in my pocket, and then I grabbed the 2 tourniquets we had. So the 2 tourniquets, like the rescue truck, and the day I retired, I remember making a mental note of this. The last day, like I remember that was a rescue 11, my last day of fire department. And the guys like, hey man, you got to come in, we'll do a dinner and stuff like that. And I didn't plan on going in. Like I wanted to leave with 0.5 hours of sleep time. That was it because I used everything, vacation and everything. That was it. That was done. But I remember making a mental note of this. The day I left, still 2 tourniquets on the rescue truck.
Yeah.
2 combat tourniquets.
So,
on the
yeah,
truck.
That's what they give you, right?
Yeah, so
Now,
that's it.
Carlos and I stole it from him, since I
Yeah.
learned paramedicine from him. He's the guy that brings in a bag that he has his own supplies.
I got a satchel.
Right? He's got a satchel,
Yeah.
which he gets made, which
I learned from him.
gets made fun of.
Yeah.
A lot. Oh, whoa, what do you think you're gonna do with that? Oh, well, I mean, years of this, right?
You know where I learned
And then-
that from? Like there was a lieutenant when I got on the fire department. His name was Art Maggio. And Art Maggio wore a backpack every call.
Yeah.
And if you think I'm fucking full of shit, y'all check this out. Like a backpack every day that dude would go on a call. He's a lieutenant EMT. But he made sure that he would have everything the medic like that was missing on a call before.
Yeah.
He put in that backpack. So if he went to a call and he didn't have that, he put that in the backpack. And he had that shit every time. You needed a shark box, Lieutenant Maggio gave you a shark box out of his backpack. If you needed this, he had it in there. And then he would have a reference book for the protocols and shit. And he would go, hey, you need this? You know what I mean? And that was the shit. And like, I always had a satchel the rest of my life,
And then around that time was when we got in touch with Stat Packs, because again, we weren't getting any help, but
Yeah.
Stat Packs
They
liked what we were
sponsored
doing
us.
with
Yeah.
competing, and they decided to sponsor us.
Yeah.
And they sent us, I mean,
bunch of bags.
a bunch of bags that we used for competition
Yeah.
for our equipment.
We still
And
have it.
Stat Pack bags are probably the best bags out there,
Yeah.
honestly. And it's not like we're getting any money to say that. We're not.
Because we're not.
Those are my favorite bags.
Yeah.
I still to this day use a Stat Pack,
Sling
bag.
yeah, sling. It's
Yeah.
just a bag. It's just like my backpack.
Yeah.
But that night, I used their tactical
Yeah,
bag
yeah,
that goes on the thigh. That was
Yeah.
my satchel that I get made fun of for. And what I did was in my satchel, I put defib pads, 14 gauges, 2 tourniquets, and then I had Narcan with the mucosal atomizer. And that was it.
What you got, Ryan?
Oh, I just wanted to stress on the importance of the backpack.
Just having, I mean,
I
that
remember-
night we proved it right there because guess what? We had 6 tourniquets or more.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
I've
combat tourniquets.
Yeah.
I've pulled items out of my bag my entire life that would surprise people around me, like a rabbit in a hat type shit.
There's
Like,
nothing.
that was a lawnmower that just came out of that guy's backpack.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I would not be shocked.
No, yeah, he had a big satchel. I had more of a thigh backpack.
I can't count how many times I've been camping with people who've never been camping or have never been camping with me. And it comes to a point where it's like, how many times am I gonna go like, hey, does anybody have one of these? And he reaches into that bag. Like you gotta come to like eventually you start asking for something. You know, there's no way he's gonna have that in his bag too. And I do.
You do.
Like,
No,
it's like,
I'm like
Because
that. You got to be
you carry
prepared
a
everywhere you go.
I don't know, who's the Boy Scouts of America?
We can't. We don't have enough time today to get into Ryan's.
Right.
back.
anyway, so I haven't spoken in a while. I just wanted to
Yeah.
chime in on the backpack.
Yeah, no, we got to get to that. We got to keep on the whole story so we can get it done tonight.
So we ran. So I'm running across. Josh is backing up the truck.
All right, so yeah, so we're at the motivation, right? He yells this at me, and
Yeah.
this is and so I got a pretty good photographic, so I just gave it a once over and kind of visualized where my initial path is going to be. Then my goal, my thoughts were, I'm going to look at my passenger side mirror and I'm just going to hug everything I see on that side nice and tight.
Right.
And if I hit something over here, then I just hug a little bit more. And I just figured I'm going to use these cop cars as bumpers. Thank you.
Yeah.
As bumpers. And this is the night it's going to be excused. And this is a true story that's still to this day, even when we were on foot walking there, I don't know how I did it 4 times without touching any vehicle.
So you did it because your backup camera
Backup camera didn't
wasn't
work.
working.
No.
You had
So
to
I couldn't
rely
really
on the
see.
things that you have learned
Yeah,
in
and
your
e-box.
previous training.
Alex
Pretty much.
Robles remembers Carlos's man bag. That thing came in handy in a pinch.
That's
Lucky.
Hi, Alex.
Hello, Alex.
Dude, absolutely.
Dude,
But like, you know, when in the beginning,
Shout out
people,
to
in the beginning,
What?
people didn't
Shout
know
out
we were
to
really good friends. I would hear people
Yeah.
talk shit about
Oh,
Carlos and
yeah.
his bag
Yeah.
until they realized like I was friends with
So,
him,
you
and then
know,
people would say things
at the
around me.
helicopter, I wear a vest. I got this vest and I got this like man satchel in the front of the vest.
Yeah.
And a lot of people fuck with my man vest, but you know, this is the thing. Like any medics ever work with me, you know, when I went from being the medic to the nurse on the helicopter, that was a big fucking change. And like I remember being on flights and stuff where people needed shit.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like so my man satchel in the front of the thing there is like a kangaroo pouch. You know, you put I got babies in there and shit. Yeah. So Marsupial about that, you know,
I
obviously
do
Nature Man's gonna tell me what that is called. And when like, you know, people need something, I got something in there. You know what you need. Like, and if I didn't have it, you sure as fuck. The next time we get it, it's
What
gonna
do
be
you
in the
need?
fucking thing there. I got everything. I got condoms. Anyway, so moving on, baby. I'm trying to tell a story. So, like, dude, as Josh is back in the truck, we see this is the leg pumping up, and this is you know what's crazy is when you watch that timeline thing on YouTube, Angel's telling the story, like Angel's talking. Angel's the guy that's talking.
Yeah.
So this is Angel, like, so yeah, been drug out to that spot right there. He's just bleeding. And like you know, I'm a Spanish man. I'm dark skin color, and like I could see this man getting paler as I walk up to him.
I've never, and
And you
again,
know-
you saw it from a sprint.
Yeah.
I've never seen it coming out like a fountain, like
Yeah.
like a damn.
Like I gotta tell you, this,
Chocolate
man,
fondue
this is the
fountain or
thing,
something.
Chocolate fondue.
and I've seen this. I've said this before. We do the talk. Is that I have taught people how to put a tourniquet on. I've put it on people before
Yeah.
and stuff like that, but never for real. Never to stop. Like
I've never-
fucking bleeding
yeah,
like
put-
that
put
at
one on a
moment in
leg.
time. Yeah,
Until then,
yeah,
you know.
and you're watching a man just like mid fever, just fucking blood coming the fuck out of there. And like I stepped on his leg. I remember it.
Yeah.
I stepped on his leg, and he went from laying flat to like sitting up.
Just coming
And he's
unglued,
like,
trying to push you off, and he
"Stop
doesn't
getting
remember
off my
any of
leg.
it.
Get off my leg. And I remember, hey man, chill out. I'm trying to stop your bleeding. My foot is stopping your bleeding. And I put the tourniquet on him, and I'm turning it. And you know, when you teach people, you tell somebody's awake, and you put a tourniquet on them, what do they do when you know, like, it's on time?
They start screaming.
They start screaming. And
It
they
hurts.
fucking scream.
It does hurt.
I remember him grabbing my calf like it was yesterday. I can feel it right now. Him going like, "Get the fuck off my leg!" And I go, "I am trying to stop you bleeding, man." But the whole time I sprinted over there. The hyperventilating man chased
Right,
me.
the same guy.
Hyperventilating man
Very
chased
well
me the
dressed.
whole way. Like he chased me the whole way, and he's fucking keeps telling me that he's like, you know, pointing that he can't breathe, and I'm like, "Stop fucking breathing that fast because you're gonna pass out."
Yeah, you got to understand there were a lot of people just like him
Yeah.
coming up to us,
Yeah.
basically hyperventilating, panicking because they wanted us to go do something they wanted us to do, not what we were doing. So we had to tune a lot of it out.
So this dude, I don't know what you did there, but you know, that's not what we did. So, like I remember him grabbing my leg, and as he grabbed my leg and stood up, stop. I remember moving my foot, and he wasn't bleeding anymore. But he's awake. I go, fuck, the bleeding stop. That's like legit. Like I'm having these thoughts in my head, like at the time, like fuck that shit really fucking like that's real. Like people are telling me
That
this
was
shit, like they
validation.
fucking scream. So then the hyperventilating man's grabbing me, and I said, "Stop fucking grabbing me, man. You're breathing just fine. You got no blood in front of you. You're gonna pass out." And that motherfucker passed out. I
So
swear to you, that's a true fucking story.
no, and this is when I did my eyeball, and I'm doing my backup thing, and I mean you swore thinking back on it, I swear I would have like I had a suicide knob on it because I was just not and didn't
You
hit
didn't hit one thing.
did not hit a
You
fucking
did the
thing.
dance.
True story, and then did it again, and then did it again,
Yeah.
and then it did again, and each time I was right. I mean, I had the back of Rescue
times.
7
Every time.
right next to the apron. It couldn't have been in a
Yeah.
better spot. All we had to do was pick people up and carry them to the right there. Like the worst was maybe a 20-foot carry.
So as the dude passes out, like, you know.
And so, yeah, I see this, and I remember this a lot because I remember, the nobody was in front of us
Yeah,
yet.
yeah.
The vehicles hadn't moved yet. Staging was still on Gore.
Yeah.
Because on our third trip, when I did it, staging had moved to Kaylee, so I could see them. And before I jumped out of the truck, I remember standing on the hub wheel of the cab, hands like this, screaming at these rescue trucks, somebody get the fuck over here, like we need another vehicle capable of putting somebody in it. You guys are right the fuck there. You know how frustrating that was? And I literally, like, for a few seconds, I did this, cursing, screaming, and this thing, and then went back to doing what I was doing, and did nobody show up.
So the craziest thing is when the dude passes out, like, again, one of those things you always told people.
You tell people, yeah.
You're breathing really fast, you're hyperventilating, man, you're gonna pass out.
And I saw the pass out part of it because that was right when I had finished, and I hopped out of the truck. We were within 4 feet of each other. I made eye contact with him go ahead.
So like, you know, in my mind, again, I'm having a whole conversation with with myself, going like, "Fuck, that really does happen."
Right.
People
Somebody,
pass out.
yeah, people pass out from breathing too hard.
I did not know that
Yeah.
had happened.
Yeah. So, hey, Pablo, you don't get 2 days for that White Claw, by the way.
Make that sure.
Yeah, Brian some days.
Cheers.
I get two
Yeah.
dicks, 2 dicks and a pineapple can.
You're welcome.
So anyway, it's like the dude passes
No,
out.
I get to that?
I'm turning. You're gonna get it 1 day later. So like, you know, as you turn the dude, I turn him over, and what I see at that time,
Man, I get one.
I'm in the middle of the story.
Yeah, this is very distracting.
Yeah.
I don't
Jesus
have
Christ.
another one.
Give him.
I'll go get, I'll get.
No.
He can have
This
mine.
is this environment is not
Yeah.
is becoming not conducive to felons.
Yeah. So then so I turn him over.
Well, it's the first time we've never taken breaks.
Yeah, I know. You're going back.
Yeah, well, we
So-
tell the story before, never
Yeah.
taking breaks.
Yeah, so we turn him over, and his shirt sucked into the back, right between the shoulder blades.
Yeah, that nice white silk shirt, sucked right in the back, which I could see too, because that was when I had jumped out.
Yeah,
He
right
had
in
him
the
on the
shoulder
side.
blades. That's where he was hit. That was the hole that he had, and that was the wound that was fucking giving him the difficulty breathing.
Right, it was
And,
full on sucking back one.
Yeah, and I remember putting a defibrillating pad on him, and I turned him over. And one of the things that people gotta understand is that as we competed and we did the competitions and stuff, like we talked to each other out loud a lot because
We have to.
So I got to tell you this thing because this is really important to where we're at. Me and Josh are at that time. You know, I remember like me and Felix had gone to the air medical competition and made it to, like, if you were in the top 14, you would always get invited back.
At that time, it was called
Yeah.
AMTC.
AMTC, yeah, it was AMTC, still AMTC, but it was the CAE Cup. No, it wasn't the CAE Cup, it was Medicup.
Medicup. that's
Medicup
right,
at the time,
Medicup.
which is the Critical Care World Championships.
Yeah.
And we get invited back to it, and
But this time, Felix didn't want to go. Or,
Felix couldn't go. Yeah, he couldn't go. And like, I remember being on the phone with Felix that day, and like Josh was sitting there, and he goes, "Hey man, if you can, so I'm like, dude, I can't believe we're signed up. We're going." And it was in St. Louis.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, man, I've never been to St. Louis.
Yeah. Josh goes, "Hey man, I'll go," and he bought a ticket right then and there. Like,
Yeah.
literally, he bought a ticket. Like, as soon as he said he could go, he got a fucking computer at 6 and 7, and you bought a ticket, and we went to that. So,
Yeah.
again, this time we don't get 4th place. Every time Josh would show up, we would go to like the next level, right?
Yeah.
So like now we're like, we come out of the prelims in 2nd place,
Made it to the finals.
made it to the finals, and we got robbed. Like, we got fucking robbed.
Everyone that saw it and was in attendance knows
we got robbed. So we got robbed because they said we didn't talk to each other.
Right.
So from that competition on, we made a vow to say everything we're doing out loud.
to each other. If you're next to me, I'm going to let you know what I'm doing. You're going to let me know what you're doing, and
Yeah.
we're going to stay on. We're always going to know what each other's doing.
Yeah. So we're going to talk out loud. And basically, when we freaking so when Josh pulls in with the truck, what I'm doing is talking to Josh out loud of what I'm about to do.
Right.
And I say, Josh, this guy's got JVD. He's not breathing. He's got no distal pulses. I can't listen to lung sounds. I'm decompressing both sides.
All right. So let me take this here.
Yeah.
All right. So this I want to take here because
You're gonna watch this.
I was told that, so after this event, obviously we didn't make any note, we didn't write any reports, which was one thing that our EMS department was really upset, was that we didn't stop to take billable information from these people that we were transporting. No BS. And I believe too, they were the last ones to say, we'll cover the bill. Anyways, they were upset. We didn't take billable information. So they basically they had no information. So they wanted us to write narratives. They put us in separate rooms. They gave us overtime to come in the next day, separate rooms, both narratives. Wow. They were very similar, you know, different points of view, but very similar. But since he did this and I saw it, I seen it, right? It happened. And the EMS lieutenant that was reading the report at the time when I gave it to him, and I was in his office, when he got to this portion that I'm about to explain to you, told me that this was not possible and this did not happen. Now, if you're going to tell me that because I'm like working with Ryan and Ryan's brand new, and I said Ryan did this procedure, no, nothing against you. It's like, okay, you can have some speculation because you don't know anything about Ryan or his credibility, but we're talking about Carlos. And if it's going to happen, and if anyone's going to be able to do an incredible medical procedure, I'm going to put my money on that guy, right? And so, and this is what I saw, and this is what I wrote. So he looks at him. This is how I remember it. I jump out the cab. We make eye contact. He says, Josh. Yeah, and like I saw the wound. I saw where he slapped the defibrillating pad and turned him over. So I already knew what was going on. Like you know, based on I knew what was going on. Didn't have to ask him, but he looked at me and he said, Josh, this guy's got no radial pulses, can't breathe. That's what I remember hearing. He had already had 2 14 gauges, which we'll say are my thumbs. 2 14 gauges. He had already had them pulled out of his pocket, decapped. Just happened to see me. When he sees me, oh, Josh, this guy's got no radial pulses, can't breathe. And then immediately did a double needle decompression at the same time.
And it isn't like how I remember.
At the same time. No, hold up. I'm not done. I'm not done.
He's not done.
Because by the
Wait,
time I'm
no.
done, Van Halen will be playing and there will be pigeons flying off in the background. Okay.
I finally agree with there too.
Yeah, because that's how crazy that is. Listen,
Sure.
anyone who's ever done a needle decompression knows that at some point you gotta, you give yourself a little bit of a landmark. I seen it. You can't tell me I didn't see this. Josh, guys had no radial pulses, can't breathe. Bam. And then it's weird, the things and thoughts that come into your head at the time, but what came into my head, and it's funny, came into his head too, was the same scene from the same movie, Pulp Fiction, when Uma Thurman gets the adrenaline, the epi shot right to her heart, and she sits right back up. He sat right back up. He sat up.
You know,
Took a huge, like, prolonged breath,
you have to
like for a while, and this is true too. Carlos is straddling over him, and he says, "Hey man,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. You want to go to the hospital?" And after this long, drawn-out breath, he actually looks. He looks at both needles, and he shakes his head yes.
Yeah.
You know, and so that, and so you insult me by telling me something I saw didn't happen.
Well,
And so he wanted me. One more thing. This lieutenant wanted me to falsify my report and say that didn't happen. I told him, and this is a true story, hand to God, sir, if you make me change my report, it's going to go like this. Josh, this guy's got no radial pulses, can't breathe. Then he started spinning the 14 gauges like they were 6 shooters. Then the double needle decompression. And I said, I will write that up, hand to God. And that's when he left me be, because I do what I say, and that's how it is. And so he goes, okay, whatever. But he still, probably to this day, doesn't believe it was real. And I seen it. He did it.
So what did the patient say?
And
Well, let me. So
that's going forward. We'll get back to the patient.
So
Okay.
I don't remember it happening in that same sequence where the Josh has explained it. So like I do remember decompressing the man twice, and then he got up. Like he got up, like he woke up, and then, like I was like, I did say, man, I'm sorry. 'Cause I felt bad, and I'm like, you want to go to the hospital? And he shook his head, yes.
Yeah.
And
And
I
then
got
that-
in the truck.
That's the last thing I remember there, because I see back from him now, and I think Glenn Shepard was on the scene at this time. And he helped me grab this guy. This guy somehow, Glenn might have gotten him completely trauma naked. You know, he had some tidies and that was about it.
Yeah.
But when you're a GCS of 8 and you're out of it, you are a very strong
strong.
person. And nobody could get a hold of this dude, regardless that he was 5'7", 160. You know?
Yeah, he was fighting.
So I had to go old school wrestling, double leg takedown, while Glenn grabbed the top half, or vice versa, when we finally started taking him to. Oh, I remember I grabbed the top half because what the wound was on the back of this guy's head. The back of his head was missing the scalp. He had been scalped. Right now, I'm going to examine this further because if I see brain, we're talking black tag, and I got to move on. There was no brain. Skull was intact. I put my thumbs in there. I felt it all up. I mean, it must have been a shot that, like, you know, just grazed and blew that black back cap of his head off.
Yeah.
So he was obviously very vascular area. He was covered in blood, very hard to get a hold of. We got him, very vivid memory I have, through and put him right on the stretcher. He got right to the stretcher, and then he was fighting Carlos. But right before that, as I'm putting him on this stretcher because he's fighting us, you know, and then, you know, and I'm looking forward ahead, and I see the gentleman that got the double needle decompression being escorted by Carlos to sit into the captain's chair. He sat in the chair. Why do you keep taking my thunder? I'm going to ask you to leave.
I'll go.
I'm going to ask you to leave.
All right.
No. Like, why am I talking if I can just be told by somebody else?
Yeah.
You know? I mean, all right. So where was I? Anyways, he escorts him into this. He sits down. The guy sits down and looks at both needles again, and then grabs his seatbelt and puts the seatbelt on.
That part is true.
And puts his seatbelt on.
That part is true. That did happen.
You know, and then you turned and you started helping us with our guy. I'm just having a little issues here. There we go. Then you turned and started helping us with our guy, GCS of 8.
So
and you strapped him down.
yeah, so this is the second trip. You know, we're back, and so you know we did the tourniquet, decompression. The dude, you know, we got him sitting in the captain's chair, and basically at this point in time, Josh is driving, and we're trying to fill every possible position that we can. In the truck.
Every
So we're putting, like,
space.
people on the bench seat. We're putting people on every chair, and I'm just kind of
Every space.
I'm standing in the middle, and I'm doing the one thing that I could do to basically, you know,
Get one.
yeah, you know, I'm doing the one thing I can do to help that person out,
Trish, I need
and then I'm moving to the next, and I'm moving to the next thing, you know. So, but I remember that, like Quincy Sharheiser helping you guys bringing the patient.
Yeah.
So I remember the patient coming in. And I do remember it, turning him to the side, and I strapped him, I cross-strapped him, and then I remember putting a humoral head on the guy.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this guy's going to need he's going to need me too. So we get to the OMC the second time. Remember, like, having this guy on the stretcher, because we were offloading all the people off the truck. This time, Eric was there from the ER, Eric, the medic.
I love Eric.
Yeah, so Eric there, he's
one of my
offloading people. They
favorites.
had the stretchers. They were ready. Like, the
Yeah,
second
second trip they were ready.
second time we come back, like, OMC was like clocking, man.
The
Like,
people that were there, they had work.
yeah, and they're like leaving us outside. And then remember the pickup truck's in front of us. So the pickup truck's
Yeah.
offloading. They're
This
offloading
time, yeah.
everything that's like unconscious, not moving type stuff they had on their truck. So
They
they're,
weren't
like,
really
offloading.
triaging. They were basically
Loading.
sometimes they were listening to
Fill it.
the masses and grabbing who someone told them to
Fill the
grab.
truck.
And
Because you
they just
remember the
filled the
second
truck.
time as we're coming back, we get stopped halfway. They put a person in between the bench seat and the thing. And so this time, you know, we get there, we have the guy on the stretcher, and nobody's coming to the guy on the stretcher. We go in to offload the dude. Now, some of the stuff is allegedly people that may still work there.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, now I bring the dude in, and like, we're like, hey,
They
this
grabbed
guy-
all our other patients.
yeah,
but
we're
this
like,
guy, we
we're
need
like,
to
this
grab.
dude needs an airway. We're like, this dude needs an airway. This dude needs an airway.
Like,
And like,
everybody did.
yeah, and they're like, they're working. You know what I mean? The trauma room is getting, like, every bed's full, like the hallway's full. And I'm like, you know, so, you know, allegedly I had our side drugs going on. So they were, you know, in the bag.
Right.
You know, so, and then I don't know how I got those. You
I don't
know,
have
them.
They appeared. People
But
were leaving our side
I
drugs
remember
everywhere.
I remember like Josh, I got everything set. We got
I think the Victus
we
was
got the
unlocked
humoral
then.
head IO. And like I think if any time you'll get in trouble to do something, like this is the time, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna push next, you know, and then remember that the doc coming
A
up.
resident.
Yeah,
comes.
resident
Right,
comes up.
and it looked like it was his first innovation.
And I don't think this dude was a ER resident. I think he's just down there helping. And like, he's just like, okay, I'm gonna tube this guy. And I remember that.
And I remember giving him the
the.
courtesy. I said,
Yeah.
you know, I'm thinking this is your ER, your scene. Go ahead, son. You know, I've innovated a ton of people.
The
But
attendant came up and she goes, all right, push the meds. So I'm gonna pushing meds. And, you know, they gets the tube and did that. And then we left, you know, we left again this time, you know, we come back. And then on the third trip, we come back, we pull back in. And the first thing I remember of this trip is, and it's like, you know, really the only memory I have of it is Quincy.
yeah, the third trip is a real blur to me too.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing the faces. I remember that was when there were more people on the scene, and that's why I was like, yeah, great, you know. But then there's still no other ambulance.
So I remember Quincy. Well, the other thing I do remember is that they had everybody lined up, like in the like, you know, who.
On the apron, yeah.
In the,
They're red.
Yeah, the thing like is the right up behind Einstein's Bagels coming off the parking lot. They had them in that order. Like, this is it. This is what you get.
So much so that the blood from all of them, which
Right.
is another vivid memory I have, was running down so prolifically that I don't know if that's the right word, that it hit the gutter and was flowing like water through the gutters into the manhole.
So these are some of the memories that, like, these are some of the things, you know, that, you know, with counseling and stuff that, you know, kind of comes back. Like, you know, so I'm trying to get through the story because I'm going to tell this fucking myself up. So like, I remember, like, you guys filled the back of the rescue.
Yeah.
Like, you put everybody in the spots. And then there was that one dude that was sitting there. He was like going like, hey man, my stomach. He goes, man, dude, I'm gonna die. Remember that shit?
Yeah.
And I remember like Josh going like, hey man, I know your stomach hurts, bro. We're gonna be back and we're gonna take you. You're our next guy.
Like, imagine you're even somewhat with it when you get pulled out of a situation like that. You're shot up, and that's the only, you know, big red ambulance you see. So he made his way there by crawling, and just happened to get to me. He was a red. I would have put him in there if he had gotten there, you know, 30 seconds sooner. It might have been him than the other person that I grabbed.
You know,
Because he was
remember
just
like
as red.
I remember Justin's face. You remember Justin was going like the box was empty. You
Yeah.
remember? He had his box was empty. Like, yeah, he used everything he could use out of that.
I remember seeing Trevor Ewald's face,
Yeah.
just no color in it whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, because I asked, is there anyone else we can grab? And I remember him going, go. Like, I just.
We couldn't put anybody else in the truck. And I remember coming back, and like I remember we came back, and when we came back that time, that dude was dead. Like, you know, the guy you were like giving me like,
Because I did.
that guy died. Like, that guy died.
I
right
gave
there.
him, and so that's probably what one of the things that fucks me up the most was that, you know, I gave hope to everybody that's night. That's what they needed. I looked at the man in the eyes and told him, you're going to be the first person when I come back. You know, you're going to be the first person when I come back. Stay here. I'm coming to get you. And I thought about it when we came back. I got out the truck to get him. He was now a black tag, and I had to go to somebody else.
So, you know, then we go drop off our load. We come back, and this time when we come back, like they moved the staging area, and I remember Brian going over the radio,
Yeah.
Rescue 7, I see you. We're coming to staging. So, like, I remember coming out of the rescue.
Yeah, that's
And
when
I
I
looked-
looked at you and I said, hey, we were getting in enough trouble anyway. I'll ignore him if you want. You said, just stay right here. I'll be right back. And you jumped out.
I looked. There was really nothing going on. I remember Ravenel pulling out with the one patient. So, like, you know, RMA pulled out with the one patient.
Yeah.
And,
You were either a black tag at that point or you
Rescue
were.
50 pulled out with that one patient. And then we pulled up. So we backed into the front of the staging area. So then this guy from RMA came up and he was like the staging guy. And he goes like, hey, and I remember this dude's words like it was yesterday.
Yes.
Oh, so by the way, I eat dry cereal. So I love dry cereal. So I, earlier in the day, had taken this bag of dry cereal that I was eating and I left it in the cab, you know, and then like, I remember eating this bag of cereal because me and Josh, we were sitting there talking about, we're like down the last little bit of gloves that we had. 'cause we were
Yeah, I tried to take in competition, we
Yeah.
put multiple gloves on and just we'll take them off in
Yeah,
between
so-
patients. But we knew if we took these gloves we had on
Yeah.
off, we would never get gloves back on again.
So like
So
I
we
take
were-
the gloves
yeah, we couldn't.
off and like we wear special gloves as our hands break out. So we're like down this, and we each wear 2 different special gloves. Like that order of boxes of special gloves.
Yeah, I got
So like Josh goes like, I'm not gonna let last month glove, and I'm like, I only got a little bit of left, and I'm eating this cereal. And I remember the dude coming to the window and like
and he knocks on the window.
yeah,
I
and he rolls
roll
it down. He goes, "Hey man, you guys need to go to the back of the line. We have people that haven't gotten to play yet."
Well, first he tried
So
to
he said,
first.
let me say this.
Yeah.
He goes, I haven't.
Man, we saw you guys. He
We
was
saw
like,
you guys coming back and forth. We have people that haven't gotten to play yet. And I said, and I remember him saying that. I said, I said, dude, I don't know who the fuck you are. But I'm gonna tell you this. You either back the fuck away from this window before I kick your ass. This ain't a basketball game.
True story.
This ain't a fucking basketball game.
This is where I've learned to despise the term "stay and play."
Yeah. And like, and then like we kind of come out, and I remember my neighbor coming up. He's on the OPD SWAT team. And he was like, "Hey man, y'all got a ladder?" I'm like, "Look like we have a fucking ladder on this
And
truck."
I was like, "Go to station 5."
Yeah, that's the station. Then they have a ladder there, and people wanted to look at the back of the rescue truck.
Oh, yeah,
Look
so
at the
we
back
had-
of, like what it looked like, and like people were opening it up, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" is
Like
this?"
we all of a sudden showed up with Mickey Mouse or something.
So now,
You know,
like time passed, time went by, like it like.
and I'll tell the reason why I put us in first, because fuck everybody else in that line. That's why.
Well,
When I got told to go to triage, I looked, and then we were still on Kaylee,
Yeah.
and there's a sea, and I have a picture of it. There is a sea of rescue trucks,
Involve
right?
yourself.
And technically, I'm supposed to go to the back, kiss my ass. I did a 3-point turn, and put myself right in place
we
number
were
1.
at the front of the line. Like, we back right into the front of the line. So like we're there. Time passes. Then they moved the triage 1 block street over
Because of the bomb threat.
Yeah, the bomb threat, the dog sat down, and like, but at that time I'm listening to the TAC where the cops are doing their thing, and then I'm like, hey dude, if something happens, we're gonna make this right turn, we're gonna turn right back to Kaylee, we're gonna go up to Division, make the left, and come up, and like I'm like, dude, we'll be right back up in the front of it.
Because
So we had a plan.
EOD had
Yeah.
blocked us off.
Yeah, so we're blocked, so now like the breach happens, we hear the thing. And this I remember Brian, you remember Brian's like thing, he's like, hey guys, take cover.
Yeah, he was real calm.
Yeah, he was real calm and he was like, take cover. He was coordinating. That dude is a fucking
Great multitasker and
He was a leader,
great
bro.
job
He was a leader that day, bro.
and led that incident.
that guy was a leader that day, man. And he was like so fucking calm. And he was like, take cover. And then we hear the officer down. And I remember him going at that time the Orange County guy showed up. He was running the staging area, and he goes, "Hey, let's get a rescue heading that way, officer down." And that's when we came over. We're like, Rescue 7, we're on Grant turning.
We were already there.
Yeah, we were there. So we turned there for the pickup truck against the guy and takes off with him. You know what I
He's
mean?
one of their own.
So I get out. Josh is pivoting back, and that time this guy from the FBI that was there comes up and he goes, "You got people in the bathroom. You guys take them." So we started loading the people that they give us off the thing. So,
from the hole, like the holes that they made to access the bathroom.
So as we put the people in there, one of the memorable things that I was hoarding that one last tourniquet to this girl, and again she's in that timeline thing.
Mhm.
When you watch this thing, she is like tells about being under the body, she's shot under the body.
Man,
Yeah.
we had patients from that bathroom that we
They were
talked to
soaking
since,
wet. They were
and
soaking
they
wet.
told us stories that I don't even want to repeat right now.
So, and I'm not going to because I'm going to be able to. So,
No.
like, they're soaking wet, and the one girl had her leg was torn, and she was just oozing out, but
Yeah.
not spurting, But I put the tourniquet on her, and then I had a couple other patients in there, and then 2 patients with Josh.
It was a couple arm guys. I
Yeah,
think,
arms, yeah. And I remember Josh like bringing these last 2 patients over. 'Cause this is like one of the things that like people don't. You gotta understand this, and like that this girl comes up, and we used to like when we do the talk, we have a picture of the girl of Carrie from the movie, right? She's in a pink dress, like beautiful looking dress girl.
Right.
And like when you look at her, like she's covered in blood. And you can see her shoulder is fucked up, like, you know, and Josh goes to grab her, you know, what's going on? And she like just walks
Right.
into the
Right.
rest
So-
of the truck. Go ahead.
So he's in the back. Carlos is in the back at this time, and I was getting ready to leave because I thought we had the criticals and times of the essence. We got to go. Same FBI guy, you know, another good memory I have, says, no, hold on. There's a girl that needs attention, and she can't walk, basically. And I was like, no problem. You know, we already had someone on the stretcher. Like, I'm just gonna go pick her up. She was already, I didn't pull her from the bathroom. She had already been pulled from the bathroom, and she was leaning against OPD vehicle, and she was holding her arm kind of like that. You guys, holding this arm and just standing there, blank look on her face, but completely covered in blood to the point where I can't tell if the dress she was wearing was red or white and stained red. As I get to her, I go to just pick her up. I'm just gonna pick her up, right? And just go straight to the rescue. And as I go to pick her up, she doesn't say anything. She now just starts walking away from me. And it's like, whoa. So I'm head to toe in her, like the best I can, like and then that's when I realized like a lot of this is dried up blood. Some of it is white. Like this isn't blood that's coming from somewhere. It was just there, right? And I said that, I'm like, where are you? And so I just asked her, like, where are you hit? You know, everybody was hit somewhere that night. Where are you hit? And she doesn't say anything. And I'm like, where are you hit? You know, I said it again, and she didn't look at me, but she said nowhere. And so then I'm just like, all right. And I remember, because I thought it was a stupid question at the time, but it was the only thing I could think to say was, how are you not hit? How did you not get hit? Like, that's what I said to her. How did you not get hit? And this time she stopped. She's still holding her arm. She stopped. She turned. She looks at me right in the eye. And like she was telling me what she ate yesterday. She goes, I was hiding under the bodies, pretending to be dead. And then she kept walking.
So she dislocated her shoulder trying to get underneath the weight of the people. you
Right.
know?
So I knew something was fucked
Yeah.
up with her shoulder. She wasn't hit. I took her to the side door. Carl said, what's wrong with her? I said, something with her shoulder. Helped her in, and then shut the door, getting ready to leave again. Same FBI guy says, oh, I got one more. This guy can't move either. And at this point, I'm like, shit, because the first three people, they needed to get to the hospital. They need to go, right? So I run to this guy, and I got permission to tell his story. And if you can take anything that lightens the mood when you're in an incident like this, you grasp onto that. Because that's the advice I can give somebody. And you think about that kind of stuff. And this was a little bit of brightness in a shitty dark hole, right? So I look over, same car, guy leaning against the car, same OPD, like basically right where the girl was. He just has his arms by his side. He's not looking, like he's just kind of blankly staring, but he has blood from the waist down, from his belt all the way down, both sides of his pants. And this one looks active. Like I was thinking, I had a thought, shit, Carlos used his last tourniquet. I don't have any tourniquets. We might have to put something on a leg. But as I'm thinking this, I'm going to just pick him up and grab him because the guy again says he can't move. So I go to grab him and he actually slaps my hand away. No bullshit. I go to grab him and he goes, no, and slaps my hand away. And I was like, whoa. And so I'm looking and I just skip. Where you hit? He goes, I'm not hit. And then I'm like, what? And then he started walking on his own accord, started trying to take steps toward the ambulance. And every step he took, he was in excruciating pain, more pain than anyone that night. He was just screaming in pain, every step. Ah! And I go, what is wrong? Because he wouldn't let me pick him up. What's wrong with you? You just told me he wasn't hit. What the, I got people dying in the ambulance. I got to go. And he says, my legs are asleep.
Oh,
He looked me in the eye and said, my legs are asleep. And it pissed me off. I've talked to him since. It's okay, we're fine. It pissed me off because your legs are asleep and I got people that are actively bleeding in the truck. And I did do this very unprofessionally, slapped him by his ass to get him to hurry up and said, let's go, sleepy legs, let's go. because he wouldn't let me pick him up. But when I did that, he would walk faster, and he was like, ah, ooh, ah, 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 ah. So I take him to the same side of the truck, captain's chair, to give him to Carlos. And what I do?
Yeah, I go, "Hey, man, what's wrong with this guy?" He goes, "No." And you close the door. You know, so when you talk to that guy, he was under all that weight.
Yeah, he
As
was.
soon as they released all that weight from
Yeah.
you know, his legs were just reperfusing, you know, and it's fucking hurting.
What I will say about the people in the bathroom,
Yeah.
if you were able, if you weren't hit, and you were able, obviously he was able-bodied and he wasn't hit. Your primary job was to grab the bodies of the people that were deceased
Yeah.
and cover somebody up that was viable. And so in both bathrooms, they were making a pile of victims, the people that could, and then they would put the injured underneath and whatever. And then if you were the healthy one, you're the last one
Yeah, the
to try to
radio,
get under there.
Yeah, that scanner, they could hear what the cops were saying, so people would hear the radio and they thought initially that the police were coming into the bathroom and they weren't coming in, it was him with their, you know, and like.
With his scanner.
And then like, you know, they would say, "Hey, help," and then they would get shot, and eventually people weren't reaching out for anything. So when
It was like a horror movie
Yeah,
where they
so-
said it was just like
I remember-
anytime anyone made a
yeah.
noise, it was like shh.
I remember
Yeah,
like people like soaking wet. So when they do the breach, the wall, the pipes went off, you know, and all that. And I remember that from like us walking back, and we went like 2 years ago, and we walked and you see the giant hole. And we watched the
Mhm.
you know, that's where the pipe or the pipe sticking out. Remember that?
It's completely different now. But remember, I said I don't even recognize it.
So you know, every time Josh would close the doors, we go back, and you know, you go back to the time we were doing competitions and stuff. Like Tim was our team lead, and Tim would like go 2 minutes, you know, and like the last 2 minutes of any competition, the last minute it comes, you're trying to get every point you can possibly get.
You're dressing
So,
your knots,
yeah,
you're dotting your eyes.
dressing things, you're starting IVs on things, because, you know, and like you're just doing everything you can. And Josh would open the door and every time we get to one scene, he would go, "Fuck, what you do, man?" And like, I would have people in slings, I would have this thing doing that, and
Yeah.
and I would,
Like it was incredible. Like the last time, with all the people that were in that truck the last time, it was a 60-second transport easily. And so I get to and I saw some of what he did, but I didn't see everything because I was worried just about just getting people in there. And then I raced to ORMC. I get there and open the doors, and every patient had one thing done, at least one life-saving intervention done. You know, if you had a femoral bleed, you had a tourniquet, like the lady on the stretcher had a tourniquet. I remember two of the people we had were arm wounds, and he had slings on the wounds. Somebody had an IV because it was hanging somewhere, and then I said it looked so incredible that it was all that was happening, and he was getting the girl's phone number.
I was not good.
You know, like that's how on he was. He had everybody taken care of, and he was getting that girl's number.
I remember like 3 distinct times. Like, "Dude, what you do?"
Which is obviously a joke.
Just trying to get points. Like,
Yeah, but that's what he told me. I
trying to
said,
get
man,
points, trying to get
man,
points.
what'd you do back here?
Just
Trying to get points.
And that was it, man. It's like, you know, everything you did in the last minute of a competition was trying to get the most points you could. You know what I mean? And that's what we're doing. And then, like, you know, I remember that last time we went back, and there was, basically we were there, and then they cut us loose going back to the station.
Yeah. So that was our last
Yeah.
transport,
Yeah.
and then we went to staging, and we were only there maybe 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, and then they
And
said-
6:30 they cut us.
So, so we go back to the station. Now, mind you, like we get back to the station, this truck is destroyed, Now, everybody's been listening on the radio, what's been going on. We watch on the TV and shit like that. We don't know what's been going on, we've just been in the call. And then, like, they're cleaning the truck, and, like, people want to look. And I remember, like, going to Josh.
Station 7 was ready to help us.
I remember going to Josh. I go, "Hey, take a couple pictures of the back
Yeah,
of this thing," because it was, like, one of those things that, like, I go, even as many times as we've done the talk, we've never shown a lot of these pictures. We got
Right,
one picture we show, but you got pictures with like the handprints and like and then
The pools of blood,
the well of the
The light-
truck,
the
right,
light-
like the pools of blood.
flesh. There was like bits of
Yeah,
flesh in certain
yeah.
spots too, like in the hinges on the bench seat and stuff.
And then fast forward to like 6 months later, me and Manny took the rescue to go get service for the track.
The striker.
Yeah.
The striker
And
track.
then I remember going in to EMS to get drugs, come back, and this guy was like, "Who doesn't clean this truck?" And then that track
Yeah, like he's making a joke
Yeah,
that the
no, he
paramedic.
wasn't making a joke. He was upset that
Oh.
the tracks were gummed up with, like, it hadn't been cleaned. And I remember going to, like, grab that guy to throw him into, like, the street. And, like, I remember Manny grabbing me and goes, this fucking guy doesn't know. And that was, like, one of those things where, like, this guy doesn't fucking know. And it was, like, the underneath the track of the stretcher was gummed up with, like, every. So I remember taking those pictures. I remember cleaning up. I remember going home. And then I went to sleep. Prior to going home, this one chief, and like I think this guy just like he goes like, "Hey man, this guy's gonna go home. You got nobody to go home to." Because I remember he goes, "Hey man, is your kid home? You know, like you're getting divorced and stuff." I go, "No, my kid's not home. I'm by myself." And I remember going home to sleep, and I fell asleep on the couch. I remember waking up because Bandit was on my chest, my bulldog at the time.
Mhm.
And I looked at my phone and I had a bunch of missed calls from Josh. And Josh was like just upset. And let me get through this and we finish it up. We
Yeah.
get late shit. And like I remember Josh being so upset. He goes like, "Hey man, like this fucking dude's calling me and he's asking about how many reports we wrote." That's what we were worried
The
about.
same
Like,
EMS lieutenant that told me
Yeah.
his double needle decompression was impossible.
dude, how many reports you wrote? And I go, "You don't write shit. Like we don't write any reports that night." So to take into account, and this is the thing that people cannot take away from what happened tonight. You can tell the story however you want to. The chief of Orlando told the story how he wanted to.
Yeah.
Chief of Orlando Fire Department told the story how he wanted to at the time. You know, and we're not going to disparage the man online. You know, whatever.
Yeah, we know
But
what
the
happened.
reality is you know what happened. This is the reality. That pickup truck took 18 people to the hospital.
17, I thought.
17.
17.
The City of Orlando Fire Department transported 16 people to Orlando Regional.
15.
16.
That wasn't 16.
16 people to Orlando Regional got transported by the City of Orlando Fire Department. 13 of those were on rescue 7 boats.
So from a PR perspective, that doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Where was everyone else? This is an incident
So-
that happened in the city. Matter of fact, in the central of the city. You know, like couldn't be
Yeah.
closer to.
So, you know, whatever the story got told, how it got told, and everything doesn't happen, but this is the things that happened afterwards, and this is some of the things we got to talk about. Like, we get told the day when Josh goes and he's like upset that that person on the phone told him, whatever you guys did was for
Yeah.
nothing.
So his main reason for calling me was he wanted to know a number.
You know, no, let me break it up. We don't know.
Yeah, yeah. And then I said, I don't know a number. I know it's in the double digits. And that's when he got, what? He just, I don't remember what he said, but I was like defending myself right away. You don't understand what the scene looked like. You don't know what we had to do. I had to keep going back, like all this stuff. And he stopped me. He goes, "Listen, man, I don't care about any of that.
Oh,
Okay.
Whatever.
I just need to know a number because I'm going into a meeting. And by the way, everything you guys did was for no reason because everybody died.
Everybody died.
Everybody died.
So when that happens, is you got to go like months have to go through,
It's
and
almost a year.
yeah.
Oh, it was a year. It was a year where I was thinking everybody died.
and
Almost.
I'm like, man, like not everybody didn't die, bro, and I know this, I'm telling you, nobody died, and like things happen and time goes through where Josh is waking up in the middle of the night, he's crying, he's fucking losing his mind, he's losing things, and
Because we were now vilified all of a sudden.
Yeah,
like
you're really,
50% of the
yeah.
department was
Yeah.
happy with us, and the other 50% was very upset
yeah.
with what we did.
Well, like I don't think anybody was upset. I think just that's your
Well,
interpretation.
not
of the stuff.
That's my
You got to
interpretation.
remember
That's what it
that.
felt
You got to
like.
remember your mind ain't right at the time. when the shit happened. So
I felt like I had nobody's back
Yeah.
at the time,
Yeah.
and then I felt like I didn't have anyone's back anymore. Like no one had my back at work
So
anymore.
Josh has a breakdown in the middle of the night. I think this time that Amber, your wife, had enough. And she gets up and does a Facebook Live and basically tells people like, "Hey, if you know this is my husband," describes the tattoos, describes my tattoos, and like if you
Put
can
pictures
remember this, please come up. And that's when people started responding to that.
To the tattoos, really.
Yeah.
People remembered
the screaming lady or whatever.
this girl's face in my arm was a
Yeah.
lot, and then Carlos has Yankee symbol right here,
Yeah.
Captain America, that people
So-
remembered.
So people responded, and then they found our 13 people. Like the 13 people, we found them.
All alive,
All alive. Yeah.
all alive and well.
All our people are alive and well. And then I was still working at the department at the
Yeah,
time.
not that the department helped us found them.
No.
It was actually my lawyer at the
So-
time. Well, first it was Amber's.
Yeah.
It was Amber's
Yeah.
thing that did it,
And
and then the attorney was the one that set
So
the
they
meeting.
set up a thing to meet our 13 survivors, right? So we got a thing, and then remember, I was on shift, because again, I'm still at the
Yeah,
department at the
yeah,
time.
yeah. You were at like 14.
Yeah,
too.
I've been 14,
Yeah.
yeah. And like, and Josh is, he's not working at the department at the time, what happened, we're gonna mention that shit. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna get into that.
But this is happening, and I'm
Yeah.
trying to get him there.
Yeah,
That was
so
amazing.
basically, I'm trying, like I'm on shift, and they won't let me go because they want to know where it's at that we're meeting the survivors at,
Right.
and the survivors don't want it to be immediate.
They didn't want any media, any PIO.
So it was to like an hour before the meeting where they actually let me go and gave me the okay to use my own vacation time to go, right? So,
Yeah, it was so
so
kind
they
of.
let me go on my own vacation time. And I go and I meet them, right? So this is the greatest thing. So when we're sitting there, you're meeting these guys, right? You're talking to them, and guys and girls, there's this dude, and I tell the story about the decompression thing that we told.
Yeah,
And
yeah. At first it was very awkward. We didn't know what to do,
Yeah,
and then they
and then-
started up saying,
and
"Hey,
then
we
it
want to
starts-
hear your story."
So then he starts crying, the guy that I'm telling decompression, this guy starts crying. And this is the craziest thing. And it's one of the things I want people to read with, and it's like just trying to like put yourself in a patient mindset at the time.
Right.
He remembers not being able to breathe.
Mhm.
So this guy starts crying, and I tell the decompression thing, he balls out, and it's him. He's
And the guy sitting next to him said
yeah,
that was him.
that was him. This is what this guy remembers. He remembers not being able to breathe. He remembers like everything closing up and he's going unconscious. And he goes, somebody gave me 2 shots of adrenaline.
He said, "I felt a lot. I felt pressure on both sides of my chest.
2 shots
Someone
of
gave me
adrenaline.
2 shots of adrenaline to
And
wake
I
me
woke
up."
up. And that's all he remembers. The tourniquet guy remembers the guy goes, "Hey, whoever put that on your leg, the only reason you're going to surgery."
Yeah, the only reason.
That's like the
he's-
craziest thing, right? Like that.
That was
Remember
Angel?
that. That was Angel, yeah. And like, when you meet these guys up pretty close, you look at them and, they're worried about how we're doing.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
want to know
yeah,
how we're
I-
doing. Yeah, they
I-
want to know how we're
yeah.
doing. They want to know like how things are and like.
Oh yeah, they're living their lives
know.
to the fullest right now.
The thing is that
That's
to leave this, we've been at this for a while. Is this that people need to remember? Like this is the first time anybody's seen Josh in a long time.
Yeah.
After this happens, is a lot of things that happen in your life before Paul's brought it up. And I saw my friend deteriorate into a fucking not the guy that I knew, not the dude that was right. And as he, months after and things like that, me and another guy, Lieutenant McClay, he was a good man. He's a really good man. So, Lieutenant McClay tried to get you help, and we tried to get you help, and the help was denied.
Mhm.
Had the help been given to you, you would never been in the place you were at when you got in trouble. They, cost you not to be.
We really don't know, and
Yeah.
all we know is I asked for help for months,
And it didn't go.
and it got denied constantly.
And the
So much
spiral-
so that there was a news story about it.
Yeah, in the spiral of you being like that Josh, everybody saw on Facebook, once the company was doing what it was doing,
Mhm.
and the guy that was doing is like, not the same dude.
Oh no, I'm getting paid to do Facebook Live. Like that's what you needed help marketing at the time, and I said, I'll help you out. I'll do what I can.
You did it as long as you could.
Yeah, yeah, I did.
Almost to the detriment of our relationship, where you were,
yeah. I
you
remember.
were in a bad spot. You're still in a bad spot, and it's like we were talking about before we started recording. Like I've seen you 3 days in a row.
You're one of the
And, like,
smartest guys I've ever met.
Yeah, and it's just like
That is not even a joke.
and the thing is like my mind and your mind, and like it's not ever been the same.
Mhm.
Neither like Justin Harley is older City of Orlando Fire Department anymore. And his mind isn't in the same place that it
It's
was,
not.
and neither is anybody there.
Oh.
They never responded the same. They never did how it's supposed to go. Right? It's the truth. And still to this day, if that call happens again, the response is going to be
The same.
exactly the same.
Yeah, no new protocols have been enacted.
If you're watching it and if you're doing the things like I've tried. We traveled the country doing this stuff.
Mhm.
We've gone into
Years.
the world, and for the last few years, NFPA 3000 has come out. I helped with, I put input into that.
Yeah.
The active shooter response. But if the call happened right now, the impact's still the same. It's still it works the same way, right? It gets triaged the same way. People try to get tagged, and people try to get things done.
People don't enter the scene till
And
they're
it doesn't
told to,
happen.
and
Yeah,
say-
and it's just like people still die. We talked about it a few podcasts ago at the same fucking time as the people died before Columbine, right? Like people still bleed to death. People still suffocate to death. People still have the same fucking problems that can be easily fixed
Happened to
if we
us ago.
just responded the same fucking. If we still respond the same fucking way, nothing changes. People still die, right? Nothing's changed if we learn our lesson. No.
No.
So that's the message behind the whole thing is that the muscle memory isn't there. We're not providing it to the guys, and we're not writing fucking policies and procedures to do it that way. Remember Chief Sayas
Oh,
said
yeah.
this for this, and people thought this guy was crazy.
He had the foresight, literally almost a year to the date.
Before he bought all the helmets and vests that were sitting in an office the day that shit happened.
So the night of the Pulse shooting,
So-
the bulletproof vests and and Kevlar helmets and everything that this chief bought in 2015, and wrote a memo to the fire chief saying, we need to work on active shooter because it's coming. It's going all over and this is true. This was fact checked and there was a whole story
Yeah.
about it. And because he wasn't one of the good old boys, they took that memo and just got rid of it and left all of his,
So here's the thing.
everything was in boxes the
Here's
night
the
of the
thing I
Pulse.
say.
We
Here's
had
the
no
thing I
vests, we had no helmets.
We take anything from what we said, and anything you want to know is why haven't you heard our story the whole time? The reason you haven't heard our story is because it would have illustrated, it would shine the light on things that would have never, it shined the light on shit people didn't want to hear. Like, and yeah, hey, listen, if we're wrong, this is the whole state's wrong. Because, we got given, a firefighter of the year, paramedic of the year award by the governor of the state of Florida.
Rick Scott.
Rick Scott at the time. And listen, how many people showed up for the city of Orlando Fire Department?
Yeah,
We got
so that
award.
was ridiculous. I mean, I wasn't working there, so I didn't expect anyone to show up for me, but you're over a 15-year, you're like an 18-year guy.
Yeah.
Who it's basically what we won was like the equivalent of if you go into the military and you're like, I'm gonna win the Medal of Honor one day, and it's like if you get into
State of
firefighting
Florida.
and you're like, I'm gonna win the
Gold medal.
firefighter of the year for the state of Florida one day. It's like, it's not gonna happen, guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it does. And then it happens to this guy who's been working for the department since he's 18, and not one person from the department showed up
Never
to
showed up.
support.
Forget it. So
Nobody.
So you can say that. what
Not
happened
one
didn't-
person. Not one
Hey,
person.
you can say what
Showed
happened didn't happen, but man, the state of Florida recognized it.
Yeah. Otto
Still
Drodes
did.
showed up. He showed up to take pictures
Chief,
with us.
Chief Otto Jones and John Miller.
Chief Miller showed
John
up to
Miller
take
showed
pictures
up,
with us so we wouldn't feel like shit and
Yeah.
being like, literally.
So the reality is that shit, the only reason I showed up that day, because it was a born to you.
Yeah, no, you weren't gonna go. I was like,
I'm
no,
gonna
you gotta go.
And-
You gotta
I
go.
showed up, it was born to you, and I wanted you to, feel that. And I think, the
Because
last.
I really thought it made me feel a lot better. There's a lot of things I did that I thought would make me feel better, and actually didn't.
The thing I gotta say, man, and this is like, I hope that, whoever's watching it, whoever sees this thing, whoever sees you,
Mhm.
understands, like, your mind ain't right. You don't leave your house. Like, having you here.
Which I didn't think was that big of a deal.
Yeah, but having you here is it's like
Like, we've
fucking
seen
crazy.
you for 3 weeks.
Yeah, and
You look
it's
great.
insane. And it hasn't
Absolutely
happened.
amazing, and we love you.
It hasn't happened over a year, man. And like people always ask, "Hey, how's Josh doing? He's doing this." Like, well, he ain't doing right. Tim
It's
ain't
not
right.
the thing.
And like, bro, like again, like man, your mind, bro.
Especially
like,
this time of the year, which is why
Yeah.
we're trying to,
Yeah.
and I would rather talk about it this time of the year, get it done, get it out there, and then go back to my black hole and not,
hopefully
not think about it.
hopefully things are changing. Man. You look different. You're doing.
You do. You look fantastic.
Well, I lost a bunch of weight because I didn't eat much for a while,
Yeah.
and then coming back, it's like I'm not eating
You
Cocoa
look
Pebbles
great.
every day, so
Yeah.
I'm
You're,
getting it
you're
back.
not eating couples?
Cocoa Pebbles
Oh,
every day, so I'm not getting it
Yeah.
back. But I'm the lowest.
Let's shut her
I'm the
microphone
weight.
down, please.
I'm the weight I was at
Talking on one.
when I was In high school, shit. Yeah, I'm down to 181. When I was in the department, my norm was 195, 190, 195. I'm at like 181 now.
Hey man, listen, Josh, and just anybody watching and listening, doing things, the things I want to finish up with is this. I'm glad you're my best friend.
Mhm.
I'm glad that things happen to you that we got some bad times. And I'm glad you're here. And there's a lot of things in my life that will never happen. You were my best friend.
Mhm.
And
And vice versa.
and like fuck man, like I've been in some bad holes, bro, and like the only person that could ever take me out of it is you.
Yeah.
I love you, man, and thank you for being you. And there's nothing special, there's nothing you did, it's just you were present. And being present has made you the biggest fucking part of my life, bro. And like, who Carlos is today is because of you. You know what I'm saying, man?
You know I don't go through good with emotion.
He's not kidding, my God.
I'm not gonna-
No, I know. And I reciprocate all of that. I do. Shit, my little brother gives me hugs all the time, and then the other day he's like, "Man, why do you keep giving me a half-ass hug? I'm your brother." I'm like, "I just bad at that
Tell me
stuff."
like good.
I was on that earlier.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
good.
Yeah, I mean, when it's a good time, I have to take advantage of it. Today was a good day, or else I would cancel on. I cancel
man,
on.
you tried too.
And I almost did.
Oh, bro, you
And I
tried.
almost did.
You tried. Give me
I mean,
half-ass.
the legit was it was
Oh,
legit, but there was no reason to rush
bro.
home.
I wasn't gonna let you do it.
But there was no reason to rush home, and I almost did not come in today.
Yeah. You tried, man. Gave me a half-ass down story. What's up with you, man?
Chris Morgan is saying, Carlson Josh, you did amazing work that night. The 13 lives that were given a second chance because of you. I arrived about 30 minutes after it started at ORMC, and as hectic as it was for us working in the trauma bays, which I can't, that was hectic. I can't imagine the chaos on the scene. Much respect and love for you both and your passion for humanity.
We love Chris.
It was a man. Any other two dudes there remained that day in our position would have done the same thing.
Yep.
That ain't me and you being special or anything we did. We just happened to be there at the right time.
Right, and did our job. That's what we're
You
paid
did
to
what you're
do.
supposed to do. Because
That's
we
what we
weren't
did.
cooking hot dogs.
Yeah,
that
that's
day.
why I'm uncomfortable with the hey, you're a
you
hero
were-
term.
You were cooking hot dogs that day. You were doing,
What my job was.
and they paid us really good money to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
And we were trained to do it, so we
Yeah.
didn't falter. We
Yeah.
didn't shirk our duty like some coward.
man, it is what it is. When people did what they were going to do, they did
Yeah.
our job. I don't give a fuck about that.
Yeah.
Hey, man. What's up?
Mark Olson
Who
asked,
makes the best empanadas?
We love you,
What's
Mark.
up, Mark?
What's up with the bait?
So
So
I make the best
for a while,
empanadas.
and I gotta pee. So you
Hey,
gotta-
Me
one
too.
last thing I want to say. There's a gentleman by the name of Eric Solar that works at the Orlando Fire Department that knows how to make granadas empanadas.
you know,
So if you want granadas empanadas, you get Eric at your station.
just don't
I
let
heard.
that don't
Eric
let that
thinks
motherfucker
that
come
ORMC,
around
we love him
when he's
too.
coughing.
I heard it was
We love you, Eric.
Ralphie recently that got the benefit from Eric making empanadas, and Ralphie loved it.
Ralphie said to me.
Yeah.
So,
I was
like,
talking about Eric who
hey,
works at RMC.
Eric,
I love you.
hey, when we went to your bachelor party, we all came back sick as fuck. This is pre-COVID.
Listen,
Yeah.
Almost died.
Sick
I
as
had,
fuck.
I had what I call the Eric.
they
Because he was the
died.
first one sick and he
Pretty-
gave it all.
Yeah,
Pretty
he
sure
very
they were
upset,
both dead.
so he did.
Yeah.
You were dead.
John. Oh, hey, John Reed. Remember John Reed?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love John. John, man, I can't wait till you can tell your story, brother. That's a story everybody needs to hear.
Yeah, that's true.
Thank you. Yeah, John. I could tell his story, right?
Yeah, no, you can't.
No, I can't. 'Cause- Yeah, that's right. I'm not gonna. I wouldn't tell it as good anyway. I just want everyone to know that John Reed got put in a very, 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 very tough situation and performed
Yeah.
at a high level.
Hey,
Yeah.
yeah, John's spot was like, we remember sitting
Worse than ours.
standing there in the middle of a blizzard listening to this man's story.
A
It was
blizzard?
like,
It was riveting.
It's a crazy shit. We were in a blizzard in New York. You know that fucking story,
Right,
right? We're in New York. So, hey, you got anything, Brian?
No.
Yeah, it's as quiet as we see a man with a scarf on. People see Brian's
Eric
scarf.
from ORMC, we love you.
Yeah,
Okay.
You said
You
that.
said it like 9
I
times.
know, but I do
Shut your
love him.
microphone down. Why don't you
I
stop
love
the fucking mic?
I don't know. I tried to get him to do it. Well, I can't figure out which one it is, or I would
I
have
still love you, Eric.
And then I'm the one with the broken mic.
Yeah, yeah.
You have a broken night.
Everybody has a good mic. I'm the main guy telling the
Yeah.
story. I get the broken mic.
Gotta pee. See y'all
Yeah, I
later.
do have to
also
pee.
have to pee.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it, guys.